Chapter 262 White Silver Tier Territory Fusion Certification. Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower. In the end, he immediately became speechless when he saw a Dust Wasteland resource pack. However, his expression improved slightly when he saw the specific resources. Item name: Dust Wasteland Exclusive Resource Pack. Item level: White Silver Tier. Item effect: after opening it, you can obtain 2 million units of stone, 2 million units of wood, 2 million units of metal, 2 million units of fine sand, 10,000 units of forged stainless steel, 10,000 units of light silver, 1,000 units of adamantine, 1,000 units of mithril, 100 units of water element gems, 100 units of fire element gems, 100 units of earth element gems, 100 units of wind element gems. Item description: White Silver Tier Area Exclusive Resource Pack. After opening it, you can obtain a large number of basic resources, some area exclusive resources, or elementary and intermediate grade resources. There are actually these elementary and intermediate grade resources. That's not too bad, Zhou acknowledged. Today he had just handed all these resources to Zhao Changshu and asked him to build the Triumphal Arch. These resources were already gone. Now this exclusive resource bag could replenish his energy. After that, he opened the regional treasure chest in the Yellow Earth Plain and realized that it was still an exclusive resource bag. Moreover, the types and quantities of resources were exactly the same as the exclusive resource bag in the Dust Wasteland. The corners of Zhou's mouth twitched. Then he looked at the last regional treasure chest. It's a White Silver Tier regional treasure chest after all. Give me something different. Zhou prayed silently. Then he opened this regional treasure chest. Then, he raised his eyebrows slightly, and surprise flashed across his eyes. It's actually this thing. A territory fusion certificate was lying quietly in the treasure chest. Zhou picked it up and looked at it. A familiar text notification appeared. Treasure name: Territory Fusion Certificate. Treasure grade: White Silver Tier. Treasure effect: it can fuse a White Silver Tier or lower regional territory that is connected to its territory. The fused regional territory can retain all the resources in the original territory and have a certain chance of increasing the grade of its territory. Treasure description: a necessary item to increase the grade of the region's territory. It's actually a White Silver Tier territory fusion certificate? It's not gradeless. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He never expected that his first territory fusion certificate would not drop from a monster, but from a regional treasure chest. Thinking of this, he could not help but shake his head. This territory fusion certificate is too difficult to obtain. I've the King of Loots, but I only obtained one territory fusion certificate. It didn't drop from a monster. He sighed. He looked at the territory fusion certificate in his hand and put it away. The surrounding territories were all Black Iron Tier. Even though this Silver Tier territory fusion certificate could be used, it would obviously be a waste. Since that was the case, he should wait for Li Ya's territory fusion certificate first. In any case, he was not in a hurry to fuse his territory. After that, he went to the Gate of Summoning and threw in the Alchemy Technology recruitment books and Alchemy Pharmacist recruitment books he had obtained earlier in the day. After they came out, Zhou looked at their attribute information. In the end, they realized that even though their life class levels were quite high, the alchemy technology and alchemy potions they knew were either not as useful as the shapeshift potion or replicated the life potion. Even though Zhou was a little disappointed, he did not say anything and asked them to go to the Gnome Alchemy Workshop to join the work there. If only there were alchemists who could make higher-level potential advancement potions. Zhou could not help but think as he watched them leave. Then he felt that he was a little greedy and stopped thinking about it. He returned to his lord's manor. However, not long after he returned to the lord's manor, the two of them came to ask for an audience. In the meeting hall, Zhao Changshu and Zhang Keshuan looked at each other and smiled. Zhou sat opposite them and looked at them in surprise. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks Elder Zhao. Elder Zhang, why are you two here together? He asked curiously. I'm naturally here to report a happy occasion. Zhao Changshu smiled. What happy occasion? Could it be? Zhou thought of something and his eyes lit up. Zhao Changshu nodded. Even though he was trying his best to calm down, he could not hide the excitement in his voice. The first diamond-tier elementary grade Aurora Tower on the High Continent, which also belongs to Blazing Sun City, has just been completely built. Okay, Elder Zhao, you've worked hard. Zhou's eyes lit up, and he said excitedly, he finally had an extraordinary lethality. And it was not an ordinary lethality. Other than being weaker than ordinary extraordinary tier combatants in terms of agility, a diamond tier Aurora Tower could destroy all extraordinary tier combatants of the same level. Even dragons of the same level could not withstand the bombardment of the Aurora Tower. Polarity mode too many times. He resisted the urge to go out and take a look immediately and looked at Zhang Keshuan. Seeing this, Zhang Keshuan took the initiative to smile. My lord, I've also completely mastered the mist energy cannon and forged a mist energy cannon. Where? Zhou immediately asked. He had been looking forward to this mist energy cannon for a long time. Elder Zhao and I tested the power of the mist energy cannon previously. We're still outside the city gate. The two of us came together to ask my lord to come with us to see the actual combat ability of the Aurora Tower and the mist energy cannon. Zhang Keshuan said, let's go take a look. Zhou immediately said. Zhao Changshu and Zhang Keshuan nodded. Then, they walked out of the Lord's Manor and came to the city wall. Soon, he saw the first diamond-tier elementary grade Aurora Tower in the territory. He also saw Li Ye and her maidservant. At this moment, the two of them looked at the diamond-tier elementary grade Aurora Tower excitedly. Zhou took a few glances before looking at the Aurora Tower. A text notification appeared. Building name, Aurora Tower. Building level, Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Building function 1. Light Energy Reserve Device. Absorb light elements and store them in the Light Energy Reserve Device of the Aurora Tower to collect attack energy for the Aurora Cannon. Building Effect 2. Aurora Kingdom Cannon. Ray Mode. Activate the Aurora Kingdom Cannon and continuously release light elemental energy, forming an extremely penetrating Aurora Kingdom ray that sweeps through all enemies in range. It can instantly kill any normal race life form below the yellow gold tier. Building Effect 2. Aurora Kingdom Cannon, Polarity Mode. Activate the Aurora Kingdom Cannon and instantly release all the light elemental energy in the energy storage device. Concentrate on one point to kill the enemy. It can kill any normal race life form below the epic tier. Remarks. The Aurora Tower has a range of 200,000 meters. Construction description. The racial building of the Aurora Kingdom's human race. It is also the only kingdom-level building in the Aurora Kingdom. Later on, it was promoted by architect Zhao Changshu of Blazing Sun City. Zhou's eyes widened. He remembered that in Elder Zhao's description of the White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade Aurora Tower. The White Platinum Tier Intermediate Aurora Kingdom Tower's Aurora Kingdom Cannon. Polarity mode could kill any normal race life form below the extraordinary tier. After it was strengthened to diamond tier elementary grade, it could actually kill any normal race life form below the epic tier, even though he was already prepared. However, he could not help but be shocked when he saw it with his own eyes. As expected of the huge advancement of a class. Strength. At this moment, he suddenly thought of the Lord Battlefield tomorrow. With this diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower. And the greedy wolf totem. Perhaps I can fight for the position of the strongest lord of all races, even without the dragon-slaying will. When he thought of this, ambition burned in his heart again. Chapter 263 The Power of the Aurora Tower and the Mist Energy Cannon. The reason why Zhou did not use the Aurora Tower on the Lord Battlefield previously was to protect his territory in reality. The Lord Battlefield was just an activity after all. It was far less important than his foundation in reality, the Blazing Sun City. If it used up all the energy of the Aurora Tower in the Lord Battlefield, and its territory in reality suffered a powerful attack, he would have no place to cry if he had no other way, and could not use his strongest trump card, the Aurora Tower. Now that he had this diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower, Zhou felt that he could already use a portion of the Aurora Towers to participate in the Lord Battlefield with the help of other lower-level Aurora Towers. My lord, the Aurora Tower is ready. Do you want to try it out now? Zhao Changshu said. Zhou acknowledged. Let's begin. Zhao Changshu nodded and said to the gunner beside him. The gunner nodded and began to adjust the angle of the Aurora cannon. Soon, the muzzle of the Aurora cannon emitted a faint white light, and a large amount of light elemental energy condensed at the muzzle. The next second, buzz, an aurora ray instantly shot out accompanied by a low hum. It shot from the desert 100 meters away and shot straight into the distance. There was still a long track condensed from light elements in the night sky that was slowly dissipating after the gunner turned off the aurora cannon. After that, the gunner activated aurora cannon polarity mode. A white light spot appeared at the muzzle of the aurora cannon. This white light spot continuously gathered light elemental energy in the muzzle and quickly condensed into an incomparably dazzling and tiny light spot. Zhou was not standing close. Even so, he could feel the soul-stirring energy contained in this light spot. The next second, there was a puff and a dazzling light that was only a centimeter in diameter shot out and shot straight into the ground. Zhou's vision was extremely good. However, he only saw an extremely deep and small pit. Zhou clicked his tongue. So this is a diamond tier elementary grade kingdom level building? Such power. Even 10 Nazarios would be instantly killed. He flew down from the city wall and came to the place where the aurora cannon polarity mode had been activated. A ditch 5 to 6 meters deep and 200,000 meters long shot from Blazing Sun City to the center of Thorn Dune before stopping. Zhou clicked his tongue. This range was a little ridiculous. He came to the place where the aurora cannon polarity mode had hit. He realized that even though he was close, he could not see the deepest part. My lord, what do you think of the might of this aurora cannon? Zhao Changshu, Zhang Keshuan, and Liya walked over and said with a smile. Okay, Zhou said. Then, he felt that it was not enough to describe it, so he nodded heavily. Very good. With this aurora tower, I don't have to worry about the safety of the territory, even if I'm not in the territory for the time being. Elder Zhao, remember to arrange a diamond tier elementary grade aurora tower for Sand Gold City after the construction of the triumphal arch is completed. Zhou said. As a commercial city, Sand Gold City had already begun to make a profit. Even though it could not compare to the fixed income of the Monster Ranch, be it channels, connections, reputation, and other things that could be seen or invisible, the efficiency accumulated by Sand Gold City far exceeded that of the Monster Ranch. In terms of defense, Sand Gold City was no longer the 1,000-odd military professions from before under the rule of Qin Jiangsheng, the previous finance minister of the Aurora Kingdom. However, it was better to arrange a diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower for it just in case. Yes, my lord, Zhao Changshu said respectfully. Liya and Yu Qiao's eyes lit up. In the future, when they also had this diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower, the pressure on their Aurora Kingdom against the Taiyan Kingdom and the surrounding foreign race kingdoms would definitely be greatly reduced. Zhou nodded and looked at Zhang Keshuan. My lord, please follow me. Zhang Keshuan immediately understood and smiled. Then, he brought Zhou to a red cannon that was half the height of a person. This red cannon was about half the height of a person and 2 meters long and wide. It was completely scarlet and had an ancient style with a sharpness. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, it was the same as the blueprint information he had seen previously. Its range was 5,000 meters, and it was often used to kill giant creatures with powerful vitality, attack defenses and naval battles. Zhang Keshuan looked at the gunner beside him. The gunner understood and immediately began to control the barrel, then pressed the firing button. The next second, boom, a loud bang sounded in the distance. A sand pit 4 to 5 meters deep and more than 20 meters in diameter appeared in the desert more than 3,000 meters away. This mist energy cannon can kill giant creatures. If Nazario doesn't advance to yellow gold tier advanced grade, I'm afraid even its life would be in danger in front of it. Zhou looked at the huge pit and could not help but think. Of course, its most common function was to attack. For example, It was used to break through the defense of the enemy's city wall in siege battles. Thinking of this, Zhou suddenly looked forward to it. Previously, because he did not have any siege facilities, he used conservative defensive methods most of the time on the Lord battlefield and waited for the enemy to attack before attacking. He would only send troops out to take the initiative to attack when he encountered enemies that he could not defend against. Under such circumstances, the enemy had the advantage of the city wall. On their side, other than some subordinates who could fly, the soldiers who could not fly had to break through the city wall first before they could attack the enemies above and inside the city wall. This meant that they had to pay the price of their lives to break through the city wall and attack the city. Now that he had the mist energy cannon, it was different. This kind of war equipment that was specially used to attack the fortress could completely allow them to attack the city wall without paying the lives of their soldiers. To them, this could completely greatly increase the efficiency of attacking cities and plundering lands. Old Zhang, we have to make more of this mist energy cannon. You can get other alchemy technicians to help you make mist energy cannons at the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Include the alchemy technicians who have just joined the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Zhou said. Yes, my lord. Zhang Keshuan nodded. Even though those new white silver tier alchemy technicians were far inferior to him, a diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technician, however, they could still be considered good helpers to help him make the mist energy cannons. The three of them chatted for a while after that. Then, Zhou and Liya chatted for a while before returning to the Lord Manor. He washed up briefly and lay on the bed to rest. The next day, early in the morning, in the master bedroom of the Lord Manor, Zhou opened his eyes in a daze. A few seconds later he woke up. It's the 4th day of the Lord of all Races battlefield. He thought silently. Then he opened the World Channel and looked at what the lords were discussing. Not surprisingly, most of them were discussing the myriad races Lord battlefield. Most of them were discussing how to advance to the green bronze tier elementary grade and complete the basic goal of the Lord battlefield activity. It could be seen that they were all very anxious. The other small group was discussing how to increase their strength and stabilize their ranks. There were also a very small number of lords who had completed their basic goals early on and were confident that their ranks would not drop to Black Iron tier. Therefore, their performance on the World Channel was quite indifferent, and some lords even had an obvious sense of superiority. Zhou closed the World Channel after watching it for a while. Then, he washed up and walked out of the Lord Manor to the Gate of Summoning. A text notification appeared. Prompt. Do you want to summon immediately? Yes. Zhou looked at the Gate of Summoning expectantly. Chapter 264 Auguste's Advancement. The next second, the Gate of Summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light. Then the subjects walked out one after another. After spending 3 times the amount of time taken in the past, 645 new subjects walk out of the Gate of Summoning. Greetings, my lord. X645 The 645 new subjects said respectfully. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou acknowledged. Then, he asked all the professionals to stand up and realized that he had summoned a total of 25 professionals. Zhou was even more satisfied. Normally speaking, he should summon at least 16 professional subjects a day with the glory of the Pioneer 3, 4 of whom had the same profession level as his territory. Yet he had summoned 25 professional subjects, which meant 9 of the professionals came for free. Who didn't like to freeload? Zhou opened their attribute information expectantly. A moment later, the inspection was completed. Among the 25 military professionals, there was 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade cavalry, 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade archer, 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade gem craftsman, and 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade blacksmith. There were also 2 white silver tier advanced grade merchants, 2 white silver tier intermediate grade carpenters, and 1 white silver tier elementary grade tailor. The rest were green bronze and black iron tier life professionals and combat professionals. Zhou no longer had any emotions towards green bronze tier and black iron tier professionals, so there was no need to elaborate. After handing them all to Elder Zhang and letting him make the arrangements, Zhou went to the golem nest and summoned the 126 golems today. He also asked them to join the Blazing Sun Army. After that, Zhou led the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army to sweep through the time ruins and came to the monster ranch. After a night of construction, this place was already filled with 10 monster ranches. Moreover, every monster ranch was filled with monsters. Each monster ranch had 3,000 ranch monsters. 10 monster ranches would have a total of 30,000 ranch monsters. This number of fog monsters was almost comparable to the total number of fog monsters in the entire White Silver Tier regional territory. Even regional Scarlet Lords had to take a detour in fear when they came here. Zhou looked at the 10 monster ranches. 6 of the monsters in the monster ranch were Desert Fog Lizard, Black-tailed Fog Scorpion, Sandman, Wild Sand Believers, Withered Tree Undead Knight. The monsters in the last 4 monster ranches were all Storm Spirit. This was a humanoid soldier-type monster formed from wind and lightning elements. On both sides of their heads floated 2 fist-sized wind and lightning spirits. The violent Storm Spirit's eyes were scarlet, and its entire body was surrounded by wind and lightning elements. It looked quite fierce. However, under Mugus' nurturing, a total of 12,000 violent storm demon spirits were quietly wandering in the ranch. Zhou looked at them. Monster attribute information appeared. Monster name: Violent Storm Demon Spirits. Strength level: White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Monster description: a monster from the Kingdom of Eternal Silence. It was originally a kingdom-level military professional in the Storm Kingdom and a member of the Storm Army. Later, after the kingdom was destroyed, it was modified by the Scarlet Fog and became a fog monster. Loots: 8 White Silver Tier Mist Cores. Drop rate: 100%. 1 Wind Elemental Gem. Drop rate: 20%. 1 Thunder Elemental Gem. Drop rate: 10%. 1 True Faith Tier Scarlet Crystal. Drop rate: 3%. 1 Gradeless Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate. 1 White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Book. Drop rate: 1%. Zhou's eyes lit up. Elemental gemstones were intermediate grade resources. Not only did this Violent Storm Demon Spirit drop the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate, but it also dropped the Wind Elemental Gem and the Thunder Elemental Gem. There was no need to mention the Wind Elemental Gem. Even though this was the first time he had heard of a Thunder Elemental Gem, he could guess from the name that it should be an item of the same type as the Wind Elemental Gem. Moreover, from the drop rate, the Thunder Elemental Gem should be a more precious resource than the Wind Elemental Gem. Then, Zhou looked at the drop rates of the other Violent Storm Demon Spirits. The Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade Violent Storm Demon Spirits would drop an additional Wind Elemental Gem and a Thunder Elemental Gem. The Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade Violent Storm Spirits would drop an additional fragment called the Proof of Legion. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, there was actually not a single 1 Violent Storm Demon Spirit below the White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Then he called Mugu over. Hearing Zhou's words, Mugu said respectfully, "My lord." Because this Violent Storm Spirit's predecessor was a kingdom-level soldier, the Violent Storm Spirit. Therefore, their initial monster strength is White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. They can't create a Violent Storm Demon Spirit below White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou came to a realization. Wasn't this the same as the Undead Knights? As a high-level profession, the initial strength of the Undead Knights was also Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade. Not a single Undead Knight was below Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade. He stopped asking and asked the Blazing Sun Army to attack the 30,000 ranch monsters in these 10 monster ranches. Even though Nazario had yet to wake up from the hero inheritance, with Mugu around, he could still control all the ranch monsters and allow the soldiers to slaughter them easily. As for Auguste, Zhou wanted to see its ability, so he asked it to be in charge of a monster ranch for Violent Storm Demon Spirit and deal with the 3,000 Storm Demon Spirits here alone. When Auguste heard its master's words, it immediately let out an excited cry. Then, it flapped its dragon wings and flew into the air of the monster ranch, looking down at the 3,000 Violent Storm Demon Spirits below. It first used dragon might, making all the white silver tier advance grade violent storm demon spirits tremble in fear. It opened its dragon mouth right on the heels of that. N0VE1 calm. The 3,000 violent storm demon spirits did not feel anything at first, but in less than 2 to 3 seconds, their elemental bodies were gradually corroded into a black-gray color by the spectral dragon breath. The scarlet soul flames in their eyes also gradually dimmed, finally turning into the same blackish-gray color as the spectral dragon breath. At this moment, they had completely lost their vitality and fell to the ground weakly. Even their elemental bodies dissipated, revealing the tattered corpse of a black-gray soldier. Violent storm demon spirits fell one after another under the spectral dragon breath. Your pet spectral dragon, Auguste, has killed a white silver tier advance grade violent storm demon spirit. Promotion energy plus 800. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 3,200 points of promotion energy. Your pet spectral dragon, Auguste, has killed a yellow gold tier elementary grade violent storm demon spirit. Promotion energy plus 2,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 8,000 points of promotion energy. Your pet spectral dragon, Auguste, has killed a yellow gold tier intermediate grade violent storm demon spirit. Promotion energy plus 4,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 16,000 promotion energy. Kill notifications quickly appeared. When the 43rd kill notification appeared, Auguste's body shook with a bang. Then it suddenly roared at the sky. Nazario, by Yin Wuxian. And the others immediately looked over curiously. Then their eyes widened. Wisps of dark green undead elements and grayish-white soul elements converged into 2 elemental rivers that appeared out of thin air around Auguste, making him look like the death dragon god. Then, a portion of the undead elemental river fused into Auguste's body. The other part formed a layer of dark green armor on its body. The other river of soul elements turned into 2 tributaries that flowed down from Auguste's eye and entered its brain. During the process of fusing the 2 elemental rivers, Auguste's body also began to increase at a visible speed. 2 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters. After increasing to more than 4 meters tall, Auguste stopped growing. Then the advancement phenomenon around it slowly disappeared. At the same time, a series of text notifications appeared in front of Jojo. Congratulations, your pet, the spectral dragon, has broken through to the white silver tier elementary grade. The spectral dragon's spectral dragon breath has been strengthened. The spectral dragon's dragon might has been strengthened. The spectral dragon has comprehended the growth type draconic demon, soul spike, from draconic magic proficiency. The spectral dragon has comprehended growth type soul magic from soul magic mastery, elementary soul elemental control, and soul voice. The spectral dragon has comprehended growth type undead magic from necromancy mastery, elementary undead elemental control, and enslavement of the undead. The spectral dragon has awakened the dead soul dragon armor from the dragon inheritance. The spectral dragon's legendary tier soul immunity and legendary tier physical immunity, awakening rate, have increased from 1% to 3%. The spectral dragon's extraordinary tier elemental immunity awakening rate has increased from 1% to 10%. Chapter 265 Monster Ranch Gains. Proof of Legion. Auguste seemed quite excited after being promoted. It soared in the air a few times before suddenly floating in the sky and looking covetously at the 2,957 violent storm demon spirits below. A dark green light flashed in its eyes. The next second, boom, an invisible soul fluctuation pierced into the minds of the remaining violent storm demon spirits below like spikes. Growth type draconic spell, soul spike. Ah, bang. Hiss! The brains of the violent storm demon spirits exploded one after another, and they fell to the ground accompanied by sharp or ear-splitting explosions. A moment later, the 3,000 violent storm demon spirits turned into headless corpses and fell to the ground. At this moment, Auguste had already advanced to the white silver tier intermediate grade. Then, Auguste went to help the other soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army destroy the ranch monsters in the Monster Ranch. A moment later, after all the ranch monsters were eliminated, Auguste's strength had shockingly increased to White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. When Jojo saw this, a smile appeared on his face. With the blessing of the War God and the Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade Monster Ranch, Auguste's advancement speed was far from what Nazario could compare to back then. However, the upgrade from White Silver Tier Advanced Grade to Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade was a major upgrade. It would not be so easy for Auguste to increase its strength like what he had achieved. In the time that followed, under the joint operation of the 10 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Conqueror Furnaces, the corpses of the ranch monsters were extracted as loot. In less than 20 minutes, the loots of the 30,000 ranch monsters were all extracted. Under the effect of the perfect loots, other than the +1 quality monster flesh, skill books, potion formulas, equipment materials, Fire Demon Fogwolf outfits, Vitality Potion, Jade Sun Tree Seed, and other items, he obtained a total of 155,154 Green Bronze Tier Mist Cores, 74,866 White Silver Tier Mist Cores, 72,312 Yellow Gold Tier Mist Cores, and 15,642 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores, 57,892 Class Change Certificates, 1,624 Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Books, 3,151 Puteo Soldier Recruitment Books, 2,871 Poison Crossbow Soldier Recruitment Books, 384 Elemental Archer Recruitment Books, 9,311 Aurora Cavalry Recruitment Books, 12,000 Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Books, 12,000 Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificates, 16,800 Wind Elemental Gems, 16,800 Thunder Elemental Gems, 32 pieces of the Proof of Legion, 38,751 kilograms of Light Drawing Crystal, 3,000 Tree Core Gems, Green Bronze, White Silver, Yellow Gold, White Platinum Tier, 13,523 True Faith Tier Grade Scarlet Crystals, 10,336 Pious Tier Grade Scarlet Crystals, 6,141 Fanatic Tier Grade Scarlet Crystals, 12 Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade Combat Spirit Knight Class Change Certificates, 4 Yellow Gold Tier Mount Contracts. Jojo's eyes widened when he saw the loot. How many recruitment books were there? He counted carefully. After counting, he could not help but hold his breath. After clearing out the monster ranch, he actually obtained 30,641 recruitment books? Then if he did it again tomorrow, wouldn't his military strength break through the 100,000 mark? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Thinking of this, Jojo immediately became excited. He had chatted with Leah before. The total military strength of the entire kingdom's regional territories usually did not exceed 1 million. If his military strength reached 100,000 tomorrow, he would really have the strength to attack kingdoms. The other party would not take the huge risk of losing other regional territories and gather all their forces to deal with the enemy that suddenly appeared after all. As long as the other party did not stake everything on it, his 100,000 troops were qualified to challenge the other party's entire kingdom. Jojo thought of the Taiyan Kingdom and Dark Knight Town. Previously, his confidence in dealing with Dark Knight Town came from the fact that the Sandstorm Forbidden Land would not let the pursuers from the Taiyan Kingdom chase after him. Now, he even began to feel that he could try to fight the entire Taiyan Kingdom head-on after conquering Dark Knight Town, even if he did not rely on the Sandstorm Forbidden Zone. Got carried away. Calm down, calm down. Let's see how it goes. Jojo could not help but think for a while before gradually calming down. Whether he could fight the Taiyan Kingdom head-on or not depended on when the time came. Then, he looked at the Wind Elemental Gem and the Thunder Elemental Gem. These two elemental gems actually don't have a quality +1. Is it because there are no higher level elemental gems? Jojo was a little surprised. However, it was not too strange. Some special skills or gradeless skills would not change after being enhanced by the quality +1 of the King of Loots. This was because they no longer had an upper limit, or their grades were separate. He looked at the other loot that the storm spirit had dropped. Proof of Legion Certificate Fragments. Item name. Proof of Legion Certificate Fragment. 1%. Item level. Extraordinary tier elementary grade. Item effect. Collect 100 fragments of the extraordinary tier elementary grade Proof of Legion certificate, and you can synthesize a complete extraordinary tier advanced grade core certificate. With the extraordinary tier advanced grade core certificate, you can create an official kingdom level army formation and activate the growth enhancing army buff. Item description. Gather 100 fragments of the Proof of Legion certificate, and you will obtain the certificate to establish a kingdom level army. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He was a little surprised. It was actually an item to establish an army. He had always thought that armies were casually built. It turned out that the Supreme Will had also created something like the Proof of Legion certificate. 100 fragments of the Proof of Legion certificate can only be fused into one complete certificate. I only have 32 now. If I want to gather 100, I'm afraid I'll have to wait until the day after tomorrow. Zhou thought. He nodded to himself. Then he would wait slowly. Even though he was quite curious about the effect of establishing an official army, he was not in a hurry. Then he opened the exchange and threw in 40,000 basic soldier class change certificates, extra materials, skill books, equipment and other items. Then, he directly announced the transaction. Compared to the previous transaction, the number of class change certificates this time had doubled. Moreover, the grade and quantity of materials, skill books, equipment and other items had more than doubled. Therefore, in less than a moment, this transaction was ranked first on the transaction viewership rankings. The lords on the World Channel immediately started to discuss fervently. My God, the Lord of the Blazing Sun's talent is definitely the control panel. The Lord of the Blazing Sun definitely controls a large amount of control panel code. As long as he enters the code, countless resources will appear out of thin air. It does seem like it now that you mention it. Otherwise, where would the Lord of the Blazing Sun get so many resources? Especially the 40,000 class change certificates. This number is ridiculous. I feel that the Lord of the Blazing Sun has a sign-in system. As long as he signs in every day, he will obtain a large amount of resources. Didn't you notice that the goods sold by the Lord of the Blazing Sun are the same every day? It's just that their grade is increasing. Damn the control panel and the sign-in system. This is the real Lord's world. Have you never felt pain? Thank you for the goods, Big Boss Blazing Sun. To be honest, I feel at ease every day when I see Big Boss Blazing Sun selling goods at a fixed time. I might experience losses going out to fight, but Big Boss Blazing Sun's goods can allow the strength of my territory to steadily increase every day. Chapter 266 Monster Core Established. Transactional Results. +1. The thing I look forward to the most every day is buying a soldier class change certificate from Big Boss Blazing Sunday. +2. +11 111. Big Boss Blazing Sun can even sell these class change certificates at will. Just how strong is his territory? Could it be that everyone is a soldier? It might be even more ridiculous. Don't forget how the Night Lord disappeared. It's a little scary. More than 100 lords went to find trouble with the Lord of the Blazing Sun, but they were beaten down by the Lord of the Blazing Sun before they could even cause a ripple. It's simply terrifying. What should I do if I become enemies with the Lord of the Blazing Sun in the future? So I am worried. It doesn't matter. I'll take action. 66,666. The Night Lord had great confidence in himself the day before he besieged the Lord of the Blazing Sun, so he basically did not care about leaking it. Therefore, the lords on the World Channel knew that the Night Lord had led more than 100 lords to besiege the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Even the Dragon Lady Lord, the Overlord Lord, and the other top lords paid attention to this matter. Originally, the lords thought that no matter how much they overestimated the Lord of the Blazing Sun, facing the siege of more than 100 lords, and a lord like the Night Lord would be a fierce battle. They did not expect the Night Lord and the others to fail so directly. This shocked many lords. Now that they saw the Lord of the Blazing Sun take out so many soldier class change certificates and other items, All the lords knew one thing. The Lord of the Blazing Sun's strength had increased again. On the other side, after Zhou Zhou announced the transaction, he closed the exchange interface and ignored it. A moment later, Bai Yin also walked over after counting the number of soldiers who had advanced. "I've something to report, my lord. A total of 28,752 soldiers just broke through. 15,200, and one of them have been promoted to Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. 7,896 people advanced from Black Iron Tier to the Green Bronze Tier. 5,122 people have advanced to the White Silver Tier. In the end, there were still 463 people who advanced to the Yellow Gold Tier. We have a total of 25,234 Black Iron Tier soldiers. 21,612 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 8,963 White Silver Tier, 500 Yellow Gold Tier. In addition, I just broke through to the Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade. Maris has also broken through to the Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade." Bai Yin said respectfully. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Among the military professionals under his command, there were nearly 10,000 White Silver Tier professionals. There were even 500 Yellow Gold Tier professionals. He only had a few dozen of them before today. He could only say that the quantity caused a qualitative change. Otherwise, without more than 56,000 troops, and the blessing of the war god, it was impossible for so many Yellow Gold Tier professions to suddenly appear. His quantity would increase greatly. On this basis, the overall strength of the professionals under his command would increase greatly every day from today. Thinking of this, he came to the gate of summoning, and through the 30,641 recruitment books he had just obtained into it. The next second, he saw professionals walk out of the gate of summoning one after another. After greeting Zhou Zhou respectfully, they came behind him. Zhou Zhou watched for a while and stopped waiting. More than 10,000 people yesterday made him wait for more than half an hour. Wouldn't he have to wait for 2 hours for the 30,000 people today? He called Bai Yin over and asked her to be in charge of receiving these 30,641 new recruits, and started preparing for the Lord battlefield. Bai Yin immediately accepted the order. "Also, I have something else for you to do," Zhou Zhou said. "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." "Thanks," Bai Yin said without hesitation. "Go and change all the Sand Corps summoners in the Blazing Sun Army to Violent Storm Spirits. In addition, all the knights in the Blazing Sun Army will be promoted to Aurora Cavalrymen for free. You can use the Violent Storm Spirit class change certificates and the Aurora Cavalry class change certificates yourself." "Yes, my lord," Bai Yin said respectfully. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then, he left and found Wuxia, asking him to gather all the monster subjects in the territory. A moment later, 4,378 monster subjects stood not far from Zhou Zhou and looked at him respectfully. Zhou Zhou looked at them. Most of these monster subjects were wild stone monsters that had defected yesterday. The second highest in numbers were the golems produced by the golem nest. Lastly, there were some sandmen, Sand Corps summoners, and other monster subjects. Zhou Zhou felt a little ashamed. Previously, he had used these monsters as cannon fodder. Every time he charged into the front line, he would arrange for them to be at the front. Only some spellcaster monsters would stay behind. This also caused many of the monster subjects that had defected to die. Otherwise, there would definitely be more than 4,000 monster subjects in front of him. He coughed lightly and looked at them. "From today onwards, I will integrate you into a separate army. This army is called the Monster Army. All subjects who join the Monster Army will enjoy the same treatment as the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army. I hope you can make a name for yourself as a monster army in the future. Let the enemy tremble in fear. Roar! Howl, howl, howl! Woo woo!" When the 4,000-odd monster subjects heard Zhou Zhou's words, they immediately cried out. Zhou Zhou smiled when he saw this. Even though this scene looked a little strange, he, a lord under the supreme will, was actually leading a group of fog monsters. However, since the supreme will did not send a warning notification, it meant that what he did was within the rules set by the supreme will. Moreover, The reason why he gave these monster subjects the same treatment as the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army was because these monster subjects who had defected were very loyal. He would not mistreat them as long as their loyalty was high enough. At this moment, the exchange sent out a notification. Zhou took a look. As expected, the transaction he had just issued had been completed. He glanced at the transaction results. Trade result: 131,783,692 black iron tier miss cores. A total of 130 million black iron tier miss cores. Zhou smiled. This number was not surprising. He had done his mental sums before throwing those things into the exchange. They were exactly the same as this transaction result. I can earn more than 100 million black iron tier mist cores just selling goods every day. There's the heavenly mist treasure bag. Which means I can obtain a net profit of more than a legendary tier mist core every day. Zhou was quite satisfied. He was only a yellow gold tier intermediate grade lord, but he already had such a daily income. He did not know what it would be like when his territory level increased to the legendary tier or even higher. More than an hour later, all 30,641 recruits walked out of the gate of summoning. At this point, Zhou's Blazing Sun Army had a total of 82,692 military professionals. In addition to the 4,378 monster subjects of the Monster Army, there were a total of 87,070 professional combatants. Zhou did not waste any time. He opened the Lord Battlefield, clicked on Match, and began to rank. Chapter 267 Volcano and the Dragon King of Destruction. Half an hour later, Zhou looked at the words that still maintained the word matching and could not help but fall into deep thought. Why was the matching process so slow today? He suddenly thought of something and opened the rankings of the myriad races, Lord Battlefield, to check the number of mythical tier lords. He realized that there were only 46 mythical tier lords, amongst which there were only 19 mythical tier elementary grade lords. Is it because there are too few mythical tier lords? Zhou guessed in his heart. He felt that this should be the reason. Since there was a high chance that there was no problem with the Lord's battlefield, Zhou prepared to continue waiting for the ranking. However, just as he waited for another 3 to 4 minutes, roar! A dragon roar suddenly sounded. Then, a mighty and domineering black and red dragon suddenly flew out of the Lord Manor and stood proudly in the sky. It was surrounded by black-red magma and smoke. A pair of scarlet eyes were hidden in it, as if the dragon god in the flames was watching all living beings. It had an ancient crown on its head that was like a volcano, and its body was covered in black and red ferocious dragon armor. Its body was 3 to 4 times larger than before, and its height had increased from more than 50 meters to more than 120 meters. Zhou's eyes lit up. Was Nazario done accepting the legacy of the low-tier deity level and the Calamity Crossing pill? He closed the ranking first, then looked at it eagerly. Soon, a brand new attribute information panel appeared in front of him. Zhou only took a look before his expression lit up. It was because he realized that this brand new attribute information panel was the attribute panel of a dragon hero. Subject: Nazario, Hero Unit. Hero Title: Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction. Position: Low-tier deity level hero fate level. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Strength level: Yellow Gold tier advanced grade. Ability overview. The legendary pure-blooded dragon race mastered the extremely violent power of magma when they were born. As their strength increased, the destructive talent of a top destroyer gradually appeared. Later, under the nurturing of the Lord of Blazing Sun City, they unearthed their bloodline talent and advanced to the level of the Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, who had the fate level of a low-tier deity level hero. It mastered the even stronger power of the volcano and even unearthed a trace of the destructive talent. Bloodline: Lava Dragon Bloodline, low-tier deity level intermediate grade, 99%. Divine Dragon of Destruction Bloodline, True God tier advanced grade, 1%. Skills: Hero Skill, Volcanic Eruption. Hero Skill, Lava Sea of Fire. Hero Skill, Destruction Dragon Flame. Destruction Dragon Breath, Dragon Might, Draconic Magic Proficiency, Lava Armor. All things burn lava explosion. Intermediate fire elemental control. Blazing explosion. Epic tier elemental immunity. Awakened level 30%. Epic tier physical immunity. Awakened level 30%. Loyalty. 100 dead loyal. Potential. Low tier deity level advanced grade. Hero biography. 1. Innate pure-blooded dragon race. Hero's personal reputation rating +1. Dragon race reputation +30,000. 2. It fought countless battles for the human race's Lord of the Blazing Sun before becoming a hero. It made countless contributions and protected many citizens of the Blazing Sun, causing countless fog monsters to fear it. Hero's personal reputation rating +1. Human race reputation rating +1,000. 3. Under the blessing of the human race's Lord of the Blazing Sun, it obtained the legacy of a low-tier deity level and became the Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction. Hero's personal reputation rating +5. Human race reputation rating +50,000. Dragon race reputation rating +100,000. High continent reputation rating +10. Prompt. When the Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction advanced to the low-tier deity level, this hero's hero title will advance to the Dragon God of Annihilation. Zhou eyes lit up. The Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction? This name sounds so domineering. Moreover, the fate level of a low-tier deity level hero was indeed worthy of being a low-tier deity level. It even had 3 hero skills. Moreover, after advancing to the low-tier deity level, its hero title would actually advance. Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. This was the first time he had heard of a hero who could advance. At this moment, Nazario's scarlet dragon eyes immediately lit up after sensing the incomparably terrifying power in its body in the sky. In the sky, Nazario's scarlet dragon eyes immediately lit up after sensing the incomparably terrifying power in its body. After arriving in front of Zhou, it began to slowly descend. However, even though it had already deliberately controlled its strength, it still landed heavily on the ground with a bang. Nazario didn't mind. It looked at Zhou excitedly and confided in him about its excitement after advancing. Zhou smiled. He reached out and touched its chin. No choice. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Nazario was more than 120 meters tall. Its dragon head alone was more than 30 meters tall. When the surrounding living beings saw that the 100-meter-tall Nazario was actually willing to lie obediently in front of Zhou, they could not help but exclaim in their hearts. When Bai Yin, Wu Xian, and the others saw this scene, they could not help but feel envious. However, when they came back to their senses, they were immediately sincerely happy. This was because the Lord's dragon pet was clearly stronger. With such a powerful dragon by his side, and the other party helping him, anyone would feel at ease. Moreover, His Highness Nazario was so strong that the Lord would definitely develop faster in the future. On the other side, Auguste looked at the size of its big brother. Then it looked at its small body. It could not help but feel envious and inferior. It could not help but feel even more envious when it saw how close its master was to Nazario. I'm going to grow up to this size too. This way, Master will definitely be able to treat me like big brother Nazario. Auguste immediately thought. At this moment, its dark green dragon eyes were filled with determination. Zhou, who was in front of Nazario, suddenly thought of something. He looked at Nazario. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Nazario, do you want to find an enemy to test your ability against? He asked. Nazario's eyes lit up. At this moment, it had just advanced and wanted to try its new ability. It immediately nodded repeatedly. Okay, then you can show your skills later. Zhou smiled and nodded. Then, he opened the Lord Battlefield and clicked on the match again to begin the ranking. Matching with your queuing opponent. Match successful. Entering the battlefield. When the text notification, entering the battlefield appeared, Zhou frowned. He had queued for half an hour, but could not enter it. This time, he actually entered so quickly. It seemed that if he encountered a situation where he had been ranked for too long, he would try the rule of ranking again, no matter which world it was. Zhou muttered in his heart. At the same time, his body also became illusory and quickly disappeared. The next second, the world in front of him suddenly changed, and he arrived in a world filled with birdsong and flowers. This place was full of life. At a glance, it was very easy to see cute and docile little animals running on the grass. The air was filled with dense light elements. Even though small animals were made of light elements. He looked into the distance. Then, he saw a golden white building that was as sacred as a church. A creature with 4 pairs of holy wings on its back looked at him quietly from the top floor of the church. Could this race be? Zhou raised his eyebrows and had a guess. At this moment, a text notification appeared. Chapter 268 Lord of the Blazing Sun vs. Holy Light Lord. You have entered the mythical tier elementary grade battlefield. You and your opponent have been randomly assigned to the mythical battlefield, Divine World, Light Plane. Condition to defeat the enemy. Kill all the enemy forces within 24 hours. If you exceed the time limit, both sides will be judged to have negative battle results. Ranking -1. You have 10 minutes to deploy your forces. Countdown 9 minutes, 59 seconds. It really is the angel race. Zhou looked at the 6-winged angel, and could not help but think. He took out the index of all races. Then, he saw the 9th volume fly out automatically, and begin to flip through the pages in front of him. Zhou clicked his tongue. According to his experience, the mythical tier treasure, the index of all races. The further back the race was recorded in the book, the higher the ranking of the race. This time, the 9th volume of the index of all races actually flew out. It was enough to show how high the bloodline level of the Radiant Angel race was. The Index of All Races, Book 9, soon stopped on one page. It displayed detailed information about the race. Radiant Angel race. The Radiant Angel race comes from the Radiant Divine Realm of the Divine Realm. They are a race created by the Light Master God. Not only do they have unique light elemental talent, but they can also stay by the side of the Radiant God day and night, and listen to the guidance of the Radiant God. Therefore they are very powerful. When the battlefield of the Lords of all races started, the Radiant God used his strength to let his Radiant Angel race participate in this competition. So it was a divine race created by a Master God tier existence. No wonder we could get here. A strong opponent. Zhou nodded slightly. He did not look nervous. The other party was powerful, but he was not weak either. He stopped wasting time, and began to gather his people. Soon Bai Yun, Wuxia and Nazario, Auguste, Soul Reaper Maris, Beast Tamer Sun Qian, and 50,000 soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army appeared in Blazing Sun City. As for the remaining soldiers, they were all new recruits summoned today. Those recruits were all Black Iron Tier elementary grade. They were too weak. Zhou did not plan to let them die on such a high-end battlefield, so he let them stay in the real world and defend Blazing Sun City. However, even if more than 30,000 soldiers stayed behind to defend Blazing Sun City, Zhou was still quite confident in the strength of his current subordinates. There were almost 9,000 white silver tier professionals and 500 yellow gold tier professionals. The remaining people were half black iron tier and half green bronze tier, coupled with the hero Nazario, the diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower, and the mist cannon, as well as the new team Auguste. They were all the source of Zhou's confidence. It was worth mentioning that after receiving treatment in the Goddess of Lives shelter for the past 2 days, not only had Wu Xin's injuries been alleviated, his strength had also recovered from yellow gold tier advanced grade to white platinum tier elementary grade. This also made Zhou even more confident. In the following period of time, Bai Yin and Wuxia began to set up defenses. At the same time, Lord Catherine was also looking calmly at Blazing Sun City in the distance. My lord, our enemy this time seems to be the human race? Incredible. A human lord can actually barge into a mythical tier battlefield and fight us. A tall and beautiful 4-winged angel walked to Catherine's side and looked at the figure standing quietly on the city wall of Blazing Sun City in the distance. Don't be careless. Before we left, the Lord told us. Don't underestimate the lords of any race. That lord is not simple. Yesterday, this lord's reputation has already spread. And I can sense the aura of the chaotic human race on him now. However, The other humans seem to be just ordinary humans. This chaos human can lead these ordinary humans to this extent. His ability is even more unbelievable than we imagined. Isn't it just relying on the dragon race? Angel Nam pursed his lips. It shouldn't be just the dragons. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Her gaze fell on Nazario. Then, her gaze became serious. A dragon hero. It seems that this chaos human lord should have given the low-tier deity-level hero inheritance secret manual to this lava dragon race. Not bad. He's a good opponent. I just became a hero too. Let's use this lava dragon to test my combat strength. Catherine's eyes suddenly burned with blazing holy white flames. A holy light sword condensed from the power of angels appeared in her hand. Seconds ticked by. 10 minutes later. Deployment time has ended. The battle has begun. All angels listen up. Implement the defensive counterattack policy. Wait for the other party to attack, Catherine ordered. Yes. All the angels immediately responded. So cautious. They are actually not coming out. Zhou raised his eyebrows. They really could not be careless with those who could reach the mythical tier. Bai Yun. Since the other party won't come out. Then let us attack, Zhou ordered. Yes, my lord. After Bai Yun finished speaking, she immediately gathered most of the soldiers and walked towards the other party's church. At the same time, Nazario and Auguste flew directly above the soldiers like two guardians, sheltering them as they advanced in the direction of the church. Soon, they arrived about 4,500 meters away from the enemy's city wall. Nazario and Auguste were the first to attack. Nazario flew high in the sky, threw its head up and roared. The next second, balls of fiery red fire clouds appeared above its head and quickly condensed. After a while, everyone suddenly felt that the originally cool air suddenly became hot. Angel Nam, who was standing beside Lord Catherine, could not help but wipe the sweat on his forehead. Then, she was dumbfounded to see sparks appear out of thin air within a large radius, covering a few thousand meters. At this moment, exclamations suddenly sounded. She immediately looked up. The fire cloud that had gathered previously had actually turned into a boiling sea of magma. They hung upside down in the sky like the sword of Damocles, making every angel who saw them feel their blood run cold. There was only one thought in their minds. This magma sea wouldn't be pouring down on us, right? Nazario told them the answer. The surface of its dragon body emitted scorching light and heat, mixed with wisps of black aura. A pair of scarlet dragon eyes looked coldly at the holy light city below. It whispered, "CLU. Dragon language, destroy." The next second, the sea of magma that filled the sky actually poured down from the sky like water under the terrified gazes of all the angels. Chapter 269 The Power of Hero Skills. Catherine surrenders. Magma sea reversal. This scene was like a celestial river destroying the world, shocking all life forms. The holy white flames in Lord Catherine's eyes burned even more fiercely. Don't panic. At this moment, Lord Catherine's voice sounded in the ears of all the angels. Then, they saw Lord Catherine fly into the sky with the holy radiance sword in her hand and charge straight into the magma sea. She raised the holy radiance sword in her hand high, and her entire body burned with holy white scorching flames. She looked like a god or a saint. Then, the holy white flames on her body condensed on the holy radiance sword in her hand. At this moment, the holy radiance sword in her hand condensed into 1,000-meter-long holy white sword light. Hero skill, judgment of the radiant god. The next second, she brandished the holy radiance sword and swung it heavily at the magma sea and Nazario, who was in the middle of it. A holy white sword light instantly streaked across the sky and actually split the magma sea open. After the judgment of the radiant god slashed across Nazario's body, the lava armor on its body instantly shattered. However, what made Catherine's pupils constrict was that after this incomparably powerful sword energy cut through the armor of the dragon hero, it only left a sword mark burning with holy white flames on its body. Then it could not advance anymore and finally disappeared. That's not right. I share the same fate as its hero. Even if there's a difference in bloodline, the difference shouldn't be so big. Why is its defense so strong? Lord Catherine was just puzzled when she sensed the other party's aura. Her expression could not help but change slightly. Yellow gold tier advanced grade. How did its strength increase so quickly as a pure-blooded dragon? She could not believe it. The higher the level of the bloodline, the more promotion energy it would need to increase its strength. According to Catherine's common sense, it was normal for Nazario to be promoted to a white silver tier advanced grade at this stage as a pure-blooded dragon. She never expected that the other party had actually advanced to the yellow gold tier advanced grade. She had only reached the yellow gold tier elementary grade, even with the will of the radiant god. Many thoughts flashed through her mind, and she quickly thought of two possibilities. The first was that this dragon had obtained the inheritance of other dragons, which was why its strength increased so quickly. The second possibility was the reward from the supreme will. These two might be the most likely reasons why this pure-blooded dragon could reach the strength of a yellow gold tier advanced grade. Only with the super strength of a yellow gold tier advanced grade, coupled with the pure-blooded dragon's physical technique and bloodline immunity talent, could the other party receive its hero skill so easily. Not much time had passed in the outside world, while she had thought of this series of thoughts in her mind. The magma sea was about to land on her holy light city. Lord Catherine raised the holy light sword in her hand, her entire body burning with blazing light power. A white light barrier emitted from her body and instantly covered the entire holy light city. Hero skill, blessing of the radiant god. The next second, the sea of magma that filled the sky had already completely fallen, completely covering this barrier formed by the hero skill. All the radiant angel race looked at the sea of magma that had magma bubbles appear outside the barrier. When they realized that the magma had not melted the barrier and landed in Holy Light City, the angels heaved a sigh of relief. When Lord Catherine saw this, she felt relieved. She could tell that this was also a hero skill of the other party. This kind of large-scale damage-type hero skill, used by a dragon hero, with the fate level of a low-tier deity level, must be very destructive. Fortunately, she had also used a hero skill to block it. Otherwise, they would have suffered heavy losses. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks in the sky. When Nazario saw this scene, the flames in its scarlet dragon eyes became even deeper. It had just used its second hero skill, the magma sea of fire. Its specific effect was just like the one before him. It was a large-scale damage-type hero skill. This hero of the radiant angel race has some skills, Nazario thought. It looked at the magma on the barrier, and its heart skipped a beat. Hero skill, volcanic eruption. Hero skill, volcanic eruption, level, yellow gold tier advanced grade, enhanceable, skill effect. When using damage-type skills, adds destructive power to damage-type skills, greatly increasing the damage ability of damage-type skills. It can increase by up to 300%. The increase will increase as Nazario's strength increases. The next second, the bright red magma covering the passport suddenly condensed even more. Soon, its color changed from bright red to black and red. Not only was the temperature of the black-red magma higher, but there were also wisps of black destructive aura dissipating from the surface of the magma. Inside the barrier, Lord Catherine was preparing all the radiant angels to prepare for the next battle. At this moment, crack, crack, crack. It was as if something was cracking. Lord Catherine's expression suddenly changed. Then, she suddenly looked up at the blessing of the radiant god. Under the cover of the black-red magma, cracks gradually appeared on the holy white light barrier that was still intact, causing drops of black-red magma to fall in. Soon, the cracks increased in number and size. A large amount of black-red magma seeped in from the crack and landed in Holy Light City. Even though the radiant angels relied on their own skills to dodge, a few of them were still drenched by the black-red magma and quickly dissolved with screams. In the end, only balls of light emitting holy white light were left. That was the heart of the radiant angels. When Lord Catherine saw these radiant angels' hearts, her expression could not help but turn ugly. The heart of the radiant angel was the original form of these radiant angels when they were first born. Yet they had become like this under the other party's attack. In reality, this could be considered returning to the embrace of the Lord, which was also a sacrifice. Fortunately, this was the Lord battlefield. She could still revive through the resurrection token later. But even so, Lord Catherine still felt that something was wrong. She looked at the blessing of the radiant god above her head. In the next second, her expression changed greatly. This was because she felt that the blessing of the radiant god she had released was about to be unbearable. A few seconds later, there was a loud bang. The blessing of the radiant god was completely shattered. Countless black-red magma poured down, covering all the angels of light. Seeing this scene, Lord Catherine sighed softly, and did not use her last hero skill. Even though that hero skill could help them stall for time as a defensive hero skill, however, she would not have much combat strength left to face this dragon hero, who was clearly still at ease. I probably won't be able to win even if I reach the yellow gold tier advanced grade. Thinking of this, Lord Catherine could not help but sigh faintly. In the end, she looked through the falling magma at the Lord of the Blazing Sun, who was still standing firmly on the city wall in the distance. She did not want to waste the resurrection spots and chose to surrender, disappearing from the Lord battlefield. Chapter 270 Amethyst Behemoth. The Might of the Aurora Tower. Lord of the Radiant Angel Race, Lord Catherine has surrendered. You have defeated the Lord of the Radiant Angel Race, Lord Catherine, Mythical Tier Elementary Grade. You have won this ranking competition. Congratulations, you have advanced to the Mythical Tier Intermediate Grade in the Lord battlefield. Congratulations, you have obtained 100,000 battlefield points. You need to participate in at least one ranking competition every 3 days. Otherwise your rank will -1. Your battlefield shop has been updated. Surrendered. Jojo was a little surprised, but he smiled. He did not expect this. This qualifying match was easily won by Nazario alone. His Aurora Tower, Mist Energy Cannons, and the Blazing Sun Army that had greatly increased their strength had yet to attack. Jojo shook his head. There was also a difference between heroes. A dragon hero with the fate of a low-tier deity tier hero, and a yellow gold tier elementary grade dragon hero at that, gave him too much of an advantage. The current him could stand firm in a high-end mythical tier lord game, even without relying on the dragon slaying will. Relying on just Nazario. Then, seeing that the soldiers did not need to rest, he directly activated the second ranking. Jojo was looking forward to it. He could advance to the mythical tier advanced grade, and officially stand at the peak of all the lords of the myriad races, becoming a top lord among the lord of all races, as long as he won another ranking match. A text notification appeared. Matching with your queuing opponent. Jojo looked at the words matching in progress, and began to wait quietly. More than an hour later, Jojo, who was reading in the study, suddenly saw a new notification. Match successful. Entering the battlefield, his body suddenly became illusory and quickly disappeared. The next second, the world in front of him suddenly changed, and he arrived at a desolate plain. A sun that looked like an egg yolk stopped in the southwest. In the world, it was as if there was an ancient aura. In the distance stood a primitive tribe. 100-meter-tall amethyst giant was looking at Jojo, and the blazing sun city under his feet, with a predator-like gaze. It was a yellow gold tier elementary grade amethyst behemoth. A text notification appeared. You have entered the mythical tier intermediate grade battlefield. You and your opponent have been randomly assigned to the mythical tier intermediate grade battlefield, Doomsday Wasteland. Your opponent is Amethyst Behemoth Lord, Reckless Sky Lord. If you exceed the time limit, both sides will be judged to have negative battle results. Ranking -1. You have 10 minutes to deploy your forces. Countdown 9 minutes, 59 seconds. Amethyst Behemoth? This ancient race actually still exists. Jojo raised his eyebrows. He was a little surprised. The Amethyst Behemoth was the ancestor of the white-silver behemoths and yellow-gold behemoths. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks as races that could fight against pure-blooded dragons, the white-silver behemoths, and the yellow-gold behemoths were already very powerful. As an ancestral race stronger and older than them, the Amethyst Behemoths naturally could not be underestimated. He looked at it for a while, then began to deploy. When Nazario and Auguste appeared, Nazario immediately sensed something and looked at the Amethyst Behemoth and the members it had deployed. At this moment, Jojo felt fear from Nazario for the first time in his life. Not to mention Auguste. Even though it wanted to try its best to showcase its heroic bearing in front of the amethyst behemoth, its trembling body still exposed the fact that it was also quite afraid of it. Zhou clicked his tongue secretly. This was the first time he had seen an existence that could completely suppress a pure-blooded dragon, like Nazario, in terms of bloodline level. If he wanted to show no fear in front of this amethyst behemoth, he would probably have to raise the divine dragon of destruction bloodline in Nazario's body to more than 50%. He guessed in his heart. 10 minutes later. Deployment time has ended. The battle has begun. Zhou looked at the other side again, after he was done with the deployment. In the end, he realized that the other party had already summoned 18 amethyst behemoths. Zhou narrowed his eyes slightly. This was one of the advantages of a high-level lord. If anyone among the human race could obtain the lord talent to summon the amethyst behemoth, it would be at least a legendary tier lord talent. But to the amethyst behemoth itself, summoning its own kind from the gate of summoning was just like how Zhou summoned his human subjects every day. It was just the most basic daily operation. At this moment, he saw that the yellow gold tier elementary grade amethyst behemoth lord had already led the 18 amethyst behemoths he had deployed out of the tribe and rushed towards his blazing sun city. Even though Nazario and Auguste were afraid of the other party's aura, they still mustered their courage and flew over. When it approached the other party, Nazario suddenly opened its dragon mouth, and a black-red flame spewed out of it. It was like a fire dragon as it shot towards the amethyst behemoth lord. Hero skill, Annihilation Dragon Flame. When the amethyst behemoth lord saw the dragon flame's attack, it immediately hammered its chest with both fists and roared at Nazario. Hero skill, Amethyst Blood Armor. Hero skill Berserk War. Its original height of 120 meters increased to more than 180 meters. At the same time, its body was covered in a layer of purple crystal armor. Nazario's strongest single-target hero skill, the Dragon Flame of Annihilation, began to burn the amethyst behemoth lord after landing on it. Auguste also used its soul spikes to attack the other party's soul. However, after it retracted the Annihilation Dragon Flame, everyone was shocked to discover that the amethyst behemoth lord was still standing on the spot. It was just that the purple crystal armor on its body had become a little charred. It roared again, and the purple crystal armor on its body immediately returned to normal. Then, it ignored Nazario and Auguste and charged towards Blazing Sun City. Use the Aurora Tower. Activate the polarity mode immediately. Zhou said when he saw this. The soldiers of Blazing Sun City would not be able to deal with these amethyst behemoths without using the dragon-slaying will. He would not waste his resurrection spot. Yes, my lord. Bai Yun immediately led her subjects and went to the Diamond Tier Elementary Aurora Tower in the middle of the city wall. She ordered the gunners to begin controlling the Aurora cannons. Soon, Zhou heard a soft puff. The next second, a dazzling light that was only a centimeter in diameter shot out and shot straight at the head of the amethyst behemoth lord. The amethyst behemoth lord had sensed fatal danger when the Aurora cannon was activated. It wanted to dodge, but it could not dodge the light at all. The next second, everyone saw the amethyst behemoth lord standing quietly on the spot. Its head was no longer there, only the flesh of its charred neck. Chapter 271 Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Rank. The amethyst behemoth army instantly fell silent when its lord died. They stared at their lord's headless corpse with wide eyes, as if they did not expect their lord to die just as the war began. Then, all the amethyst behemoth's eyes immediately turned red. Their muscles trembled, and even their bodies became much larger. Roar! Roar! Furious roars suddenly sounded from the mouths of the 18 amethyst behemoths. Then they rushed towards Blazing Sun City crazily. Keep going. Get the other Aurora Towers to attack together. Don't let them attack the city wall. Seeing this scene, Zhou ordered expressionlessly. After hearing Zhou's order, all the gunners controlling the Aurora Tower activated the Aurora Cannon, polarity mode, to kill these amethyst behemoths. War! War! At this moment, Nazario and Auguste flapped their dragon wings and flew in front of Zhou. The two pure-blooded dragons lowered their heads, not daring to look up at Zhou. Zhou smiled. You two don't have to be embarrassed. This amethyst behemoth is one of the oldest and top races among the myriad races. Probably only the deity level amongst the pure-blooded dragon race bloodline would be comparable. You dared to attack them under such circumstances instead of hiding away. In my opinion, you're already very good. Don't worry. One day, you'll overtake it. There might even be enemies stronger than the amethyst behemoth. Zhou comforted them. He had never felt that his two pure-blooded dragons were invincible. The dragon god lord would definitely surpass him in terms of the number of pure-blooded dragons, not to mention the amethyst behemoths. His two pure-blooded dragons were obtained by accident, while the dragon god lord was able to summon pure-blooded dragons on a sustained basis after all. They could not be compared. However, he did not care. His territory was strong in terms of overall strength. The quantity and quality of lord talents, dragons, military professionals, buildings, heroes, and life professionals. These factors combined were the reason why he could far surpass the other cerulean planet human lords to reach this level. However, a smile appeared on Zhou's face, looking at the dejected expressions of the two dragons. He suddenly felt that this was not bad. It was better to borrow the hands of other mythical lords to shatter their invincible hearts, and let them realize that there was always someone stronger than them. He stopped thinking and turned to look at the battlefield. Amethyst behemoths were killed one after another by the Aurora Cannon's polarity mode. Among them, the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower was naturally the most useful. Under the precise control of the gunner, the Diamond Tier Elementary Aurora Cannon inside was completely accurate, killing an Amethyst behemoth with one polarity mode. A moment later, calmness returned to the battlefield. All the Amethyst behemoths fell to the ground and became lifeless, headless corpses. Then, they turned into light spots and disappeared from the battlefield. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, you have defeated the Amethyst Behemoth Lord, Reckless Sky Lord, Mythical Tier Intermediate Grade Lord. You have won this ranking competition. Congratulations, you have advanced to the Mythical Tier Advanced Grade in the Lord Battlefield. Congratulations, you have obtained 100,000 battlefield points. You need to participate in at least one ranking competition every 3 days. Otherwise, your rank will -1. Your battlefield shop has been updated. Ranking system notification. Respected Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Lord. As you have already been upgraded to the highest level of your current ranking, you need to continue the ranking competition and obtain a ranking score. If you want to continue increasing your ranking, you will rank with the Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Lords through the ranking score. System prompt. Your current ranking score is 0. Please continue ranking and obtain ranking points to increase your ranking. Zhou could not help but sigh when he saw this. No matter how ancient and powerful these Amethyst Behemoth bloodlines were, they were still helpless against a Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower. At this stage, a Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower was completely an extraordinary weapon. These peak bloodline races whose strength had yet to grow to the extreme could not do anything to a Diamond Tier Elementary Aurora Tower at this stage. But I've really become a Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Lord in rank. Zhou felt like he was in a dream. In the beginning, when the Lord Battlefield activity first appeared, he did not think that he could win against the top lords of the myriad races. He might possess a Mythical Tier Lord talent, but so might the others. His combat strength was actually not much stronger than the lords of other races, without the advantage of a lord's talent. At that time, he even felt that he would succeed as long as he advanced to the extraordinary tier. However, he never expected that as he continued to develop and improve himself over the past few days, the strength of his territory became stronger and stronger day by day. His lord rank actually rose from the extraordinary tier to the epic tier, legendary tier, and even to the current mythical tier advanced tier. It was truly at the peak of the lord of all races, even though it was not the strongest. However, it was enough to make countless lords look up to it. Then he saw the change in the ranking score. His eyebrows twitched slightly. Ranking score? When did that happen? This was the first time he knew about such a thing. He opened the battlefield ranking of the Lords of all races battlefield. In the end, he realized that ranking scores had appeared behind all the titles of mythical tier advanced grade lords. Original Spirit Race, True Lord Rank, Mythical Tier Advanced Grade, 121 points. Myriad Race Lord Battlefield Ranking, First. Chaos God Race, Great 1 Lord Rank, Mythical Tier Advanced Grade, 104 points. Myriad Race Lord Battlefield Ranking, Second. Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord Rank, Mythical Tier Advanced Grade, 88 points. Myriad Race Lord Battlefield Ranking, Third. The ranking scores aren't high. Could it be something that just appeared? Zhou guessed in his heart. He had only looked at the rankings in the morning yesterday, and had not looked at the rest of the time. Not surprisingly, it should be a new function added during this period of time. But the top 3 are really close. Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. Then, he slid down and quickly found his ranking. Cerulean Planet Human Race, Lord of the Blazing Sun Rank, Mythical Tier Advanced Grade 0 points. Myriad Race Lord Battlefield Ranking, 9th. I'm in 9th place. Zhou nodded slightly. This was not surprising since there were only 9 lords of Mythical Tier Advanced Grade. He was the last. Zhou glanced at the 8th place, and was a little surprised. It was actually a lord he was familiar with. Extreme Dragon Race, Extreme Venerable Lord Rank, Mythical Tier Advanced Grade 15 points. Myriad Race Lord Battlefield Ranking, 8th. Chapter 272 True God Tier Recruitment Card. Xiaoxian. Zhou was naturally not unfamiliar with this lord. 4 days ago, when the Lord of all races battlefield activity had just begun, this extreme venerable of the extreme dragon race had directly rushed to the 3rd place on the Lord of all races battlefield ranking. It was second only to the original spirit race and the chaos god race. Now the original spirit race and the chaos god race were still firmly in control of the top 2 positions. And this extreme venerable had actually fallen to the 8th place. Zhou did not mock its thoughts, even though it was now ranked 8th. However, since he could enter the top 3 on the first day, his strength was undoubtedly top-notch. He could only say that all mythical tier lords were abnormal. Even the extreme venerable was lagging behind. And now he had also become one of these perverted lords. Zhou did not sigh too much. He came to the gunner controlling the diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower. How much attack energy is left in this Aurora Tower? He asked. Reporting to my lord. Currently, the Aurora Tower only has 37% of its attack energy left. The gunner reported respectfully. Zhou frowned slightly. 37%? After a ranking battle, he consumed 63% of his attack energy? How long will it take to replenish everything? It will take about 15 hours from the time the sun rises. If I start absorbing the light elemental energy now, I'll probably only be able to replenish it at 10 p.m. without using the Aurora Tower. Zhou was silent. Then wouldn't he only be able to use the diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower once a day? He thought for a while, and heaved a sigh of relief. Once a day was fine too. It was fine as long as it could steadily increase his rank. Moreover, it could reach this level on the 4th day. After 6 days, his strength might not necessarily reach that level. Perhaps he wouldn't have to rely on the diamond tier elementary Aurora Tower when the time came, and he could steadily upgrade his rank. After that, he thought about it and did not continue to rank. After all, his greatest trump card, the diamond tier elementary grade Aurora Tower, did not have much attack energy left. The remaining attack energy needed to be saved to guard against danger in the real world and protect his blazing sun city. Elder Wu had yet to completely master the greedy wolf totem, so he could not use it on the Lord battlefield. Nazario also needed to preserve its internal energy, so that it could conquer regional territories in reality. For example, the yellow gold tier regional territory of the Taiyan Kingdom, Twilight Town. Under such circumstances, if he forcefully ranked, his rank might decrease instead of rising. Naturally, he could not do such a stupid thing. Thinking of this, he led everyone out of the Lord battlefield and asked Bai Yin to bring people back to rest and prepare to conquer other regions in an hour. He returned to his Lord Manor and opened the Lord Battlefield interface. He first looked at his battlefield information. Title: Lord of the Blazing Sun. Rank: Mythical Tier Elementary Grade. Number of rankings tries: 94. Battlefield points: 341,156. Zhou shook his head. Yesterday, he only had 22 ranking tries, all obtained from conquering the territory previously. Then, the 3 white silver tier regional territories yesterday, including all the Scarlet Lord's territories, gave him a total of 72 ranking tries and 152 battlefield points. 152 battlefield points were naturally useless, and 72 rankings were too many. Zhou guessed. The Supreme will probably felt that the Lords should have some wins and losses in their respective ranks, and would have to consume many rankings. However, to a top Lord like Zhou, to him, ranking was destined to lose more than win. Therefore, he only used a very small number of rankings to rush to the mythical tier advanced grade, leaving him with so many rankings. I'm afraid I won't be able to use all these rankings until the end of the Lord Battlefield activity. Maybe there will be more left. Zhou muttered in his heart. However, he did not care too much. It wouldn't affect anything anyway. Then, he opened his Lord Battlefield shop and used 100,000 battlefield points to exchange for the legendary tier Master Servant territory contract that he had not exchanged for last time. This could turn a legendary tier territory into his subordinate territory. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thinks it could be considered a post-production tool. He did not expect to obtain it now with this activity. However, he naturally did not have the strength to make a lord with a legendary tier territory take the initiative to become his subordinate territory. He could only use it in the future. Then, he looked at the other goods. There were only 3 new products added to the mythical tier advanced grade battlefield shop. As follows. 1. True God tier recruitment card, remaining purchases 1, price, 300,000 battlefield points. 2. Mythical tier Master Servant territory contract, remaining purchases 1, price, 200,000 battlefield points. 3. Illustrated Handbook of All Races Book 10, remaining purchases 1, price, 100,000 battlefield points. The last 2 goods. Zhou was not surprised. However, when he saw the first product, he immediately held his breath, and his breathing became heavy. A true God tier race member recruitment card? He immediately opened the item to check its details. Treasure name: True God tier recruitment card. Treasure grade: True God tier advanced grade. Treasure effect: throw it into the gate of summoning. You can summon a member of the same race as the Lord, and have the potential of a true God tier higher level to become your territory subject. Treasure description: top-notch race member recruitment card. A reward specially prepared by the Supreme will for mythical tier advanced grade lords. Oh my god! After using it, I can actually obtain a clansman with the potential of a true God tier advanced grade. Zhou's eyes widened. True God tier advanced grade. He remembered that the king of Abyssal Knights Bai He, who had the fate of a true God tier hero, only had Master God tier intermediate grade potential. This potential definitely had the bonus of a hero. Otherwise, he would definitely not be able to reach the Master God tier intermediate grade potential. It would be a true God tier advanced grade, or a Master God tier elementary grade at best. The potential of the subjects that this clan member recruitment card could summon could actually reach the true God tier advanced grade. If he or she could grow successfully, wouldn't she be another king of Abyssal Knights in the future? Thinking of this, Zhou did not hesitate to spend 300,000 battlefield points to exchange for it. As for the myriad race illustrations, Book 10, and the mythical tier lord subject territory contract, he would think about it later. Soon, a golden card appeared in front of Zhou. This card was about the size of 2 palms. It was rectangular, and depicted a mysterious creature in a cloak. When Zhou saw this, he immediately went to the gate of summoning, and threw the true God tier recruitment card into the door. The next second, the golden light of the gate of summoning shone brightly, far brighter than when it usually summoned its subjects. Zhou was a little surprised. This was the first time he had seen such a magical scene in the Gate of Summoning, as expected of a clansman with true god-tier potential. A moment later, a 14 or 15-year-old youth walked out of the Gate of Summoning. He had delicate features, fair skin, red lips and white teeth. His eyes revealed a spiritual aura. Anyone who looked at him would think that he was a beautiful young man who made people love him. "Are you my lord?" The young man looked at Zhou with shining eyes. "Right. Welcome to Blazing Sun City." Zhou was stunned for a moment before nodding with a smile. He looked at his personal information. Subject: Xiaoxian. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Battle class name: None. Life profession: None. Ability overview: a young man with 9 apertures in his heart is curious about everything in the world. Skills: Talent: 9 apertures. Heavenly Heart talent. Celestial Appearance talent. Immortal Martial Sacred Body talent. Blessing of the God of Fortune talent. Danger Prediction, Loyalty. 100 Dead Loyal. Potential: True God Tier Advanced Grade. After Zhou saw his attributes, there was only one thought in his mind. Good God. He has no abilities, only talents. Chapter 273 5 Great Talents. Zhou had seen many people with their own talents up till now. However, most of them only had one talent. Those with 2 talents were already extremely rare. And Zhou had never heard of anyone with 3 talents. And this young man with true god-tier advanced grade potential in front of him was actually born with 5 talents. Ridiculous. Simply too ridiculous. Zhou could not help but click on the 5 talents. Talent: 9 apertures. Heavenly Heart. Talent effect: 9 apertures in the heart. His comprehension has already reached the limit of all living beings in the world. He can easily master any knowledge and ability. Moreover, he can draw inferences and master more knowledge and abilities. Talent: Celestial Appearance. Talent effect: a life form with celestial appearance has an extraordinary charm. When life forms of any race see a living being with celestial appearance, they will see a beauty that suits their aesthetic standards. Talent: Immortal Martial Sacred Body. Talent effect: living beings with the Immortal Martial Sacred Body are natural martial artists. They can easily master any difficult martial arts secret manual. After a person with Immortal Martial Sacred Body embarks on the path of martial arts, not only can they improve rapidly, there is also a chance of comprehending the legendary Immortal Martial Technique from ordinary martial arts secret manuals. Talent: Blessing of the God of Fortune. Talent effect: this life form is favored by the God of Fortune and can easily obtain good luck. Talent: Danger Prediction. Talent effect: this creature has a certain chance of sensing danger before it descends and avoiding disaster. After Zhou saw these 5 talents, he could not help but fall silent. He looked at Xiaoxian with a complicated expression. This is the protagonist, right? This must be the protagonist, right? These 5 talents were completely standard for the protagonist. With these 5 talents, Xiaoxian would likely be able to easily become an expert of the higher continent. Right in his name. Xiaoxian. What a name with the protagonist style. Zhou sighed. In front of this young man's name, he felt that he had nothing to do with being the protagonist other than his name being 2 words. My lord, what are you thinking about? Little Xiaoxian looked at Zhou curiously. Nothing. Zhou came back to his senses and stroked Xiaoxian's head. The more he looked at this little guy, the more he liked him. Why was a little boy so cute? TSK. His celestial appearance was indeed not to be underestimated. Little Xiaoxian, do you want to become a martial artist? Zhou asked. After seeing his Immortal Martial Sacred Body talent, he naturally knew that the most suitable path for this little fellow to walk on was the path of martial arts. This path was the same as adventurers and was already common on the high continent, but it was undeniable. It was precisely because it was common that the path of a martial artist was also one of the extraordinary paths with the greatest potential and inheritance. Martial artist? Is that the kind of extraordinary professional who can use all kinds of handsome moves? Xiaoxian's eyes lit up as he finished speaking. Then, he even posed a few martial arts moves. Zhou eyes lit up. Even though little Xiao had yet to become a professional martial artist, these martial arts moves were executed smoothly and vigorously. He did not feel like a layman at all. What shocked Zhou the most was that when little Xiao executed these martial arts moves, he realized that the energy in his surroundings actually changed with his movements, as if it was responding to his martial arts movements. My God! This was very difficult even for professional martial artists. This was because when martial artists used professional moves, they relied on their own internal strength, which was the energy in their bodies, not the energy of the world. Little Xiao was so young, but he could actually do this. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Zhou vaguely felt that this might be related to a mortal martial artist. Yes. Many thoughts flashed through Zhou's mind, and he asked with a smile. Little Xiao nodded repeatedly, and looked at Zhou expectantly. Zhou smiled. He flipped his right hand, and a warrior class change certificate appeared in his hand. After Zhou told little Xiao the use and usage of the book, little Xiao immediately thanked him excitedly. Then he took it and used it without hesitation. He closed his eyes, and felt the feeling of stepping onto the path of transcendence. Soon he opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with excitement. So this is a martial artist. I've become a martial artist. Little Xiao was so excited that he could not control himself. There's a dojo in the territory. If you want to learn martial arts manuals, you can go and acknowledge your master. Don't worry about anything else. The territory will be responsible for all your martial arts expenses. Zhou said. My lord, you're so good to me. Little Xiao hugged Zhou's thigh, his eyes filled with reverence. Little imp. Zhou looked at this kid, and the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. He could see the cunning in this kid's eyes at a glance. Little Xiao was truly grateful for his care. However, it was probably true that he wanted more benefits from this performance. However, Zhou did not dislike his performance. Instead, he liked it. In the chaotic world of the high continent, being smart was better than being stupid. Consider it your little gift. He thought for a moment and said, White silver tier elementary grade. Little Xiao's eyes immediately widened. He did not know what a mechanostrider was, but he knew what a white silver tier elementary grade was. That was a standard treasure that only white silver tier experts would treat. His lordship was actually willing to give him a treasure of this level. He looked at Zhou with even more reverence. After that, he stayed beside Zhou for a while. Then, he could no longer hold back the anticipation and excitement in his heart, and happily ran in the direction of the gnome alchemy workshop. After running for a while, he suddenly stopped and looked in a direction. An old man with a burly figure and a blood-colored saber hanging from his waist stood quietly. The sharpness occasionally revealed in his eyes caused Xiao's eyes to immediately light up. He ran to his side without hesitation. Hello, Grandpa. Are you a martial artist? He asked obediently. Little Xiao was very good at using the advantage of his appearance and temperament, and had always been quite proud of it. Where did this brat come from? Luo Feng frowned slightly as he looked at little Xiao. When he saw little Xiao's appearance, he raised his eyebrows slightly before calming down. After killing so many people, his heart had long been as cold as his knife. Can I learn martial arts from you? Seeing that Luo Feng did not speak, little Xiao asked expectantly. A mocking smile appeared on Luo Feng's face, and he was about to say something. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed slightly as he squatted down and pressed everywhere on Xiao's body. Soon, Luo Feng stood up with surprise in his eyes. I can't even figure out the upper limit of his innate ability, he muttered in his heart. Chapter 274 The Confused Overlord and the Dragon Lady Lord. You really want to acknowledge me as your master? Luo Feng looked down at him and asked. However, the Lord said that I should go to the dojo in the territory first. He suddenly looked hesitant. Ha ha ha. Why should you bow to those martial artists who follow the rules? They're just a bunch of weak chickens. In terms of the strongest martial artist in Blazing Sun City, it belongs to me, Blood Demon Saber Luo Feng. It's definitely not a problem for you to acknowledge me as your master. If you don't believe me, ask the Lord. Luo Feng was extremely arrogant. Even though he had been secretly protecting the Starfire mercenary team during this period of time, his strength had not fallen and had even increased greatly. He had already become a white platinum tier elementary grade martial artist. He was not far from becoming a diamond tier elementary grade. Even though such combat strength was not the strongest among the many experts in the territory. For example, he could not defeat Nazario and Wuxia. However, he was definitely the first among the martial artists in Blazing Sun City. Okay, then I'll go ask now, little Xiaoxian said when he heard this. Then, he immediately returned and found Zhou. Luo Feng, you want to acknowledge him as your master? Zhou was a little surprised. He naturally would not forget this reputation-rating talent. Even though this person was a little unruly. However, its loyalty to him was still alright. Moreover, his potential was also at the extraordinary tier intermediate grade, and his strength was quite good. Coupled with his experience, his future could be said to be bright. Thinking of this, the other party was indeed very suitable to be little Xiaoxian's teacher. Little Xiaoxian nodded excitedly after Zhou told him his thoughts. Then, he bade farewell to Zhou, and immediately went to look for Luo Feng. Zhou watched him leave, and frowned slightly when he thought of Luo Feng's white platinum tier advanced grade strength. The strength of a white platinum tier advanced grade was already considered a powerhouse in a kingdom-level faction. It shouldn't be a problem to protect little Xiaoxian, right? He thought about it, and was still a little worried. So he sent someone to call Sun Qian, a white platinum tier elementary grade beast tamer, and asked him to secretly send a message to Luo Feng to protect little Xiaoxian. At the same time, he asked Sun Qian to protect Xiaoxian in the dark. Even though Sun Qian's pets with different methods were not very strong, their life-saving ability was still stronger than Luo Feng's. With this protection, Xiaoxian's growth should not be in any danger for the time being. Zhou had been worried sick in order to let this clansman, with the potential of a true god-tier advanced grade, grow up rationally. However, he still felt that it was not enough. It's better to increase the means, if I can give little Xiaoxian more means to protect himself in the future. Zhou thought. If such a subject with the potential of a true god-tier advanced grade died during his growth, his heart would ache. At the same time, the lords on the World Channel also discovered that Zhou had reached the mythical tier advanced grade. All the lords were excited. Oh my god! There's actually a lord of our cerulean planet who can reach the top of the myriad race lord battlefield ranking? Am I seeing things? We shouldn't be wrong if there's no second cerulean planet human in the myriad worlds. Nor is there a second lord of the blazing sun among the cerulean planet humans. Everyone look at me. I have something to announce. The lord of the blazing sun is my father. There's no need for that. Didn't they say that the racial bloodline level of our cerulean planet's human race isn't high? Why did one of us reach the top of the mythical tier advanced grade? I can only say that the lord of the blazing sun is too strong. He was just lucky. If I had the luck and opportunity of the lord of the blazing sun, I could do better than him. The autopsy report of the previous poster is out. His entire body is soft, and only his mouth is hard. Is it so difficult to admit that others are strong? No wonder the Night Lord couldn't destroy the Lord of the Blazing Sun, even after gathering more than 100 lords. He's already so strong. You have to pay attention if you want to deal with the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Don't make the same mistake as the Night Lord. It's best not to deal with the Lord of the Blazing Sun without the cooperation of more than 500 lords. Are we destined to live in the shadow of the Lord of the Blazing Sun in the future? Lord of the Blazing Sun, are you peeping at the screen? I'm your fan. Can I be your friend? In the Overlord Lord's territory, his entire body was covered in blood-red engravings. He had a pair of purple twisted dragon horns on his head, and a pair of blood-red dragon wings on his back. At this moment, he was frowning as he watched the Lord's discussion on the World Channel. Then, he opened the rankings of the Myriad Races Lord Battlefield, and looked at the words of the Lord of the Blazing Sun, who was ranked 9th. He's really advanced to the mythical tier advanced grade. How did he do it? Xiang Shuaba muttered. He had great ambitions, and would never be easily swayed by external things. However, he still fell silent when he saw the ranking of the Lord of the Blazing Sun. He thought that his legendary tier Lord talent, the gluttonous demon body, was very strong. However, at this stage, even if he tried his best, he felt that it would be very difficult for him to enter the extraordinary tier, let alone the mythical tier. His Lord talent was inclined to increase his personal combat strength after all. His Lord talent did not give him much advantage in a place like the Lord battlefield, that tested the overall strength of the Lord talent. The Lords on the World Channel are right. Even a mythical tier Lord's talent might not be able to raise the Cerulean planet's human Lord to the mythical tier advance grade. The Lord of the Blazing Sun probably has other methods to increase his combat strength on the Lord battlefield. What? An opponent worthy of going all out against? Xiang Zueba's eyes burned with fighting spirit again. Then he looked in a direction. In his perception, there was a powerful fog monster in that direction that had reached the yellow gold tier. Kill it and eat all its flesh. Perhaps he could rely on the gluttonous demon body to obtain stronger abilities from it, and close the distance between him and the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Thinking of this, he turned into a blood-colored stream of light and rushed towards the fog monster. In front of the wyvern's nest, the dragon lady also saw the latest ranking of the Lord of the Blazing Sun and the discussion on the World Channel. Just like the Overlord Lord, she was also stunned when she saw the results of the Lord of the Blazing Sun. That guy could actually reach the top of the mythical tier advance grade on his own. She had established her own Lord Alliance from the beginning, but she was still lingering at the diamond tier. She could not even advance to the promotion competition. What she's doing? Is it really meaningful? The Dragon Lady Lord thought blankly. Knight Temple. The Silver Meteorite Knight, Rob, was resting in the lounge. He had just fought in the abyss and was about to exhaust his stamina, but he had a smile on his face. It was so fun killing them. He sighed. There were not many enemies on the high continent that could make him attack with all his might so fearlessly. Only in a place like the abyss, where the world was his enemy, could he fight so happily. Have you heard? A human lord has reached the top of the mythical tier advance grade in the Lord of All Races event set up by the Supreme Will. Fuck so fierce? Which human lord? I think it's called the Cerulean Planet Human Race. Cerulean Planet's human race? Is there such a person among the top humans? I don't remember. Neither do I. Where did this Lord of the Blazing Sun come from? When Rob first heard these words, his ears pricked up. When he heard the last Lord of the Blazing Sun, he immediately stood up. The Cerulean Planet's human race? Lord of the Blazing Sun. How did he reach the top of the mythical tier advance grade? Could it be that he used that power again? Luobu could not help but frown when he thought of the consequences. After thinking for a few seconds, he immediately walked into the hall. At the same time, in Blazing Sun City, Zhou looked at the man in front of him in surprise. Is this the talent attracted by my reputation rating? Chapter 275 Different Sword Shield Soldiers. Deal with Li Ya. Subordinate Feng Luo. Greetings, my lord. Feng Luo, who looked like a middle-aged man, said respectfully with a saber and shield on his back. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou smiled. He looked at the saber and shield on Feng Luo's back. Even though he couldn't see anything on the surface, he felt a little strange. His new reputation rating talent was actually a sword shield soldier? Logically speaking, talents attracted by the reputation rating should be very strong. It shouldn't be a problem for such a strong talent to obtain a higher level soldier class change, right? Why was he still a sword shield soldier? I've heard of my lord's name for a long time. A faint smile appeared on Feng Luo's cold face after hearing Zhou's words. He looked at the smile on Zhou's face, and the simple smiles on the faces of the ordinary subjects surrounding him. He sighed and was touched. In the high continent, a place filled with war, it was really rare to see such an honest and happy smile. He had not come to the wrong place. Feng Luo thought to himself. Zhou also nodded when he heard the other party's words. Then, he opened the other party's attribute panel. Subject, Feng Luo. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Soldier type, Sword Shield Soldier Strength Level. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Ability Overview. A sword shield soldier from a destroyed country. He has been wandering all year round, and has seen many sorrows and joys in the human world. He has pity for the living beings of the world. His dream is to use his saber and shield to create a peaceful place to live for more living beings who have suffered from war. Because he has used his saber and shield all year round, Feng Luo's understanding of sword shield soldier has already surpassed the limit of his profession and walked the path of his own sword shield soldier. Skills. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Sword and Shield Combination Technique. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Shield Breaking Technique. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Arrow Control Technique. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Sword Slashing Technique. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Spear Breaking Technique. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Hunyuan Combat Body. Loyalty, 89. Potential. Epic Tier Elementary Grade. Zhou was slightly surprised. Epic Tier Elementary Grade Potential. Such potential was rare even among his many reputation rating talents. This was really a legendary tier talent that surprised him. When he saw the last sentence in Feng Luo's ability overview, he came to a realization. He had actually walked his own path as a sword shield soldier after using his sword shield for a long time. It was really extraordinary. No wonder he had such strength and potential, but had yet to replace higher-level military professions. This Feng Luo, his future was probably not ordinary. Zhou remembered the other party and asked, "Are you willing to join my Blazing Sun army?" Yes. Before coming here, Feng Luo had already found out that the reputation of Blazing Sun City was mostly earned by this lord and the Blazing Sun army under his command. It was also because of the Blazing Sun army that the people of Blazing Sun City have such a peaceful life. Under such circumstances, joining the Blazing Sun army coincided with his wish. In addition, he was also a professional soldier, so he was naturally willing to join the Blazing Sun army and fight for the Lord of the Blazing Sun and his subjects. Okay, go find Bai Yun. She's your commander. Make some preparations. In a while we'll go out and fight. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Even though there were already many yellow gold tier professionals in his Blazing Sun army, there were still very few white platinum tier professionals. Less than 5 of them in total. Therefore, he was quite happy that Feng Luo had joined them. Yes, my lord, Feng Luo said respectfully. Seeing this, Zhou called over a soldier and asked him to bring Feng Luo to Bai Yun. After thinking for a moment, he left the spot and walked in a certain direction. A moment later, in Li Ya's room, my lord wants the corpses of the honorable subjects. Li Ya looked at Zhou in surprise and understood what he was thinking. My lord, do you want to build more diamond tier elementary grade Aurora towers? She asked. However, she was already quite certain. Yes. Zhou nodded. The diamond elementary Aurora tower is extremely important to us now, so I want to build a few more. That's why. Price is not a problem. Zhou said. With the Heavenly Mist treasure bag, he could now create high-level mist cores and trade in high-end goods. Li Ya nodded. She thought for a moment and gradually looked troubled. If it's not easy to trade the corpses of diamond tier honorable subjects, white platinum tier honorable subject corpses are fine too. To be honest with you, I have other channels to obtain diamond tier Aurora crystals. Zhou said. This was naturally a falsehood. To his king of loots, the corpses of the white platinum tier honorable subjects could also be extracted from diamond tier Aurora crystals and used to build the diamond tier elementary Aurora tower. When he said that he wanted to exchange for the corpses of the diamond tier honorable subjects, it was just a speaking technique. Okay, our diamond tier elementary grade Aurora tower should be completed tonight. I'll bring it back to my country immediately. Then I'll discuss with my father about your matter. This matter is not a big deal. My father shouldn't refuse. Li Ya heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. The corpses of the white platinum tier honorable subjects were not very precious. It was not a problem to trade them. That's good. A smile appeared on Zhou's face. With more diamond tier elementary Aurora towers, he could fight a few more battles on the Lord battlefield every day. He would also be more confident in facing the top lords ranked at the top, so he did not have to worry about the Aurora Tower not having enough energy to attack. How about this? Since your country is willing to trade Aurora crystals with us, I'm naturally not petty. In the future, if your country wants to build more diamond-tier elementary-grade Aurora Towers, just come to us. The price is negotiable. Zhou said. Really? Li Ya's eyes lit up. Of course it's true. I have a harmonious relationship with your country. Why would I lie? Zhou smiled. Thank you, my lord. Li Ya thanked him. She immediately looked forward to it. If she could bring back more diamond-tier elementary-grade Aurora Towers, the predicament facing their Aurora Kingdom would definitely be relieved. It was even possible to completely resolve the current predicament. Zhou looked at Li Ya in front of him, and could tell that she was sincerely thinking for her country. Who said that women were inferior to men? Zhou sighed inwardly. As for the feelings between the two of them, that wasn't made evident. In the face of national matters, the two of them subconsciously did not discuss it. Then, the two of them chatted for a while before Zhou left. Not long after Zhou left, Yu Qiao quickly walked out of her room and came behind Li Ya. This lord is really impressive. When we first arrived, he was only an ordinary lord who looked good. Even His Majesty values him so much now. How long has it been? Yu Qiao said. Then, she looked at Li Ya and suddenly covered her mouth and smiled. If only he could be with you, Your Highness. His Majesty will definitely not refuse. Who could reject a lord with a bright future as their son-in-law? Li Ya pursed her lips. She looked in the direction Zhou had left in a daze. I want to be with this lord too. But the 9 million subjects of the Aurora Kingdom are waiting for me. Their lives are much more important than my personal feelings. I can't let them down. Her eyes gradually became firm. Yu Qiao looked at the princess in a daze. This was the first time she had seen her princess so boldly and calmly say that she liked a man. But why did her words make her heart ache so much? On the other side, in the Night Temple. Chapter 276. Heading to the Dark Night Town. Accidentally entering the stomach of the sky-devouring thunder dragon. What? The Lord of the Blazing Sun advanced to the mythical tier advanced grade, without using the power of the dragon-slaying will? Rob looked at the teacher opposite him in surprise. He sat on a black and blood-colored demon throne. After hearing his disciple's words, he nodded calmly. How is that possible? How did he defeat those top lords of all races without the help of the dragon-slaying will? He would probably lose if he encountered a pure-blooded dragon lord, or a lord with a god spirit bloodline, right? Rob still found it hard to believe. He had checked the bloodline of the Cerulean planet's human race. It could only be considered below average among the human race. Not to mention in the environment of the lords of all races. It was very difficult to surpass those top-notch lords of all races, even with the help of a top-notch lord talent. Logically speaking, they shouldn't be able to achieve good results in a place like the Lord Battlefield, right? How did he do it? Rob muttered. We have no right to interfere no matter how he achieved it. Moreover, we should be happy since our human race has such an outstanding human lord. Oh yes. The Lord of the Blazing Sun hasn't used the slot for the hero inheritance yet, right? He suddenly asked. Not yet, Rob said. White River pondered for a moment and said, convene the Three Kings Conference. Fight for another candidate slot for the hero inheritance for the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Rob was taken aback. There was a limited number of hero inheritances, so the number of candidate slots for each hero inheritance was extremely precious. In order to determine the number of candidates for the hero inheritance, he, as the Temple Lord of the Night Temple, could not make a decision alone. He had to gather some of the strongest humans for a special meeting to discuss. Only after the meeting was passed could he make a final decision. The Three Kings Conference was one of such meetings. It could usually be used to discuss the candidates for an extraordinary tier hero inheritance. As for the higher-level candidates for the hero inheritance, they would need to be decided by the higher-level King's Conference. From this, it could be seen how precious the candidate slot for the hero inheritance was. He did not expect that the Lord of the Blazing Sun would actually have such luck. Thinking of this, Rob thought of the other party's achievements, and suddenly understood why his teacher had made such a decision. Yes, teacher. I'll go prepare for the Three Kings Conference now. Rob left with that. After he saw his disciple leave, he turned to look at the scenery of Blazing Sun City, outside the window, and the sun that had just risen in the distance. Lord of the Blazing Sun, I hope you can really become the new blazing sun of our human race, he said softly. A moment later, in front of Blazing Sun City, a total of 82,692 Blazing Sun Army soldiers and 4,378 members of the Monster Army were gathered here. Other than the fact that some of the teams in the Monster Army were not in order, the other soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army were all standing tall and straight. Their brows were filled with an unstoppable murderous aura and fighting spirit. It was obvious that they were veterans. Other than that, the armor and weapons each of them wore were made by the blacksmiths in the territory. They were equipment that matched their strength and realm. Moreover, there was no need to buy these equipment. The territory would give them equipment comparable to their strength for free. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The large number of battles every day not only brought him glorious results, but it also allowed his army to quickly grow into an elite army. It was not in vain that he had invested so much effort and resources in them. He said nothing. Then, he called Bai Yun over and asked her to choose 10,000 soldiers to guard Blazing Sun City and be in charge of protecting it. 10,000 soldiers was enough. His territory was protected by the Supreme Barrier after all, and there was also the Aurora Tower as a defensive building on the city wall. Moreover, he had the Green Bronze Tier Lord talent return to the city and the Bloodbat avatar. He could understand the situation in Blazing Sun City in time, and return in time. Under these measures, leaving these 10,000 soldiers was just a precaution. He did not waste any more time after that. He ordered all the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army to board the Black Ghost and fly towards Dark Night Town. More than a minute later, they had already flown to the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. 10,000 meters in the sky. My good lord. Zhou stood in front of the window and looked at the scenery outside in surprise. Black-gray tornadoes and sandstorms gathered densely, forming a terrifying scene like the abyss of a sandstorm. I thought that the sandstorm tornado in the Sandstorm Forbidden Land would definitely not affect me at such a height of 10,000 meters. I didn't expect that. It actually hasn't exceeded the height of the sandstorm tornado at this height. Zhou frowned slightly. Was this the strength of a legendary tier advanced grade hero? My lord, do you want to continue flying higher? When Ya's voice sounded, continue, Zhou said firmly. He wanted to see how high the sandstorm tornado in the Sandstorm Forbidden Land could be. Moreover, he had never been so high in the sky before. He also wanted to see if there was anything different at such a high altitude. Yes, my lord. Then, Zhou saw the Black Ghost continue to climb higher. 11,000 meters, 13,000 meters, 15,000 meters. This height had already exceeded the protective range of the Supreme Barrier. Zhou's expression immediately turned serious. 18,000 meters, 20,000 meters. Right at this moment, Zhou and the others finally flew past the height of the sandstorm tornado and arrived above it. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. They finally flew over it. He had thought that the King of Eternal Silence was really so powerful that he could be affected by his storm magic even from a height of 20,000 meters. Flying over the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. Continue moving towards Dark Night Town. Stop when we pass by the Green Forest. I plan to capture the Green Forest and another White Silver Tier territory to the south. After capturing these two White Silver Tier regional territories, we can open up the path from the Sandstorm Forbidden Land to Dark Night Town. When the time comes, we can attack or defend. When we attack Dark Night Town, we won't have anything to worry about. Zhou pondered. Even though he had a deal with the King of Eternal Silence, it was not a problem for him to pass through the Sandstorm Forbidden Land directly. But as a lord, he also had the responsibility to explore the surrounding environment of his territory. Especially in a place like the sky, there was naturally nothing to explore in the cerulean planet's sky, But what about the high continent? Perhaps there were some treasures in the sky. Perhaps there was also a territory in the sky that could be conquered. Zhou was naturally very curious about this. Yes, my lord. When you trailed off. The next second, an astonishing red light suddenly flickered in his room. Warning! Warning! A powerful creature is approaching the Black Ghost. Energy rating, legendary tier elementary grade. Suggestion, escape. When Yas' mechanical voice sounded, a black virtual screen suddenly appeared in the air in front of Zhou. There was an image displayed on it. In the black clouds flickering with lightning, a black-blue pterodactyl with a wingspan of more than 1,000 meters was flying towards the Black Ghost at an astonishing speed. Zhou looked at him. A notification appeared. Monster name: Sky-Devouring Thunder Dragon Simon Crimson Kingdom Scarlet Lord. Strength level: legendary tier elementary grade. Monster description: the strongest Scarlet Lord in the Blazing Sun Desert. He controls the entire Blazing Sun Desert and has many Sandman subjects under his command. He is good at summoning and was once a member of the Emperor of Sand's race when the Emperor of Sand was alive. Loots: 200 legendary tier mist cores drop rate 100%. 500 origin crystals drop rate 100%. 1 legendary tier elementary grade equipment, Sky Devouring Divine Stone drop rate 10%. 1 legendary tier elementary grade skill book, Thunderstorm drop rate 5%. 1 legendary tier elementary grade skill book, Sky Devouring Stomach drop rate 5%. 1 legendary tier elementary grade treasure, Aurora Lightning Wings drop rate 2%. 1 legendary tier elementary grade alchemist recruitment book drop rate 1%. 1 legendary tier elementary grade alchemy technology master recruitment book drop rate 1%. Quick! Quick! Fly into the sandstorm tornado. When Zhou saw the other party's attribute information, he immediately felt his scalp tingle. A legendary tier elementary grade Crimson Kingdom Scarlet Lord. It would probably not be enough to fill the gaps between this monster's teeth, even if they attacked with all their might. Escape. They had to escape. Yes. When Yas' voice sounded in Zhou's mind. At the same time, the Black Ghost also suddenly changed direction and flew in the direction of the sandstorm tornado at maximum power. The Black Spirit and the sandstorm tornado were getting closer and closer. At this moment, darkness suddenly covered the Black Spirit. Zhou suddenly felt a tremor under his feet before calming down. He looked out the window. He realized that it was dark outside the window. Have we entered the sandstorm tornado area? Zhou asked. We've entered. When you trailed off. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. The stomach of the Sky-Devouring Thunder Dragon. When you finished off. Zhou. Chapter 277 Using the Death Immunity Scroll. We entered the stomach of the Sky-Devouring Thunder Dragon. After a few seconds of silence, Zhou took a deep breath and confirmed again. Yes, my lord. According to my calculations, the Black Ghost will be melted by the stomach fluid of the Sky-Devouring Thunder Dragon in another 15 minutes. At that time, all the life forms in the spaceship will dissolve and die. When you said, is there any way? Zhou did not say anything. Instead, he tried to use Return to the City once, and realized that it could be used. This made him heave a sigh of relief and frown. He could use the white silver tier Return to the City to bring 1,000 subordinates back to Blazing Sun City. However, he had brought more than 77,000 soldiers here. If he only brought back 1,000 subordinates, it meant that he had to give up on the remainder of the 77,000 soldiers and let them stay here to be digested by the stomach fluid of the Sky-Devouring Thunder Dragon. This was naturally not what he wanted to see. My apologies, my lord. Wenya has no choice. The difference between the Black Ghost and this legendary tier elementary grade Sky-Devouring Thunder Dragon is too great. When you can't resolve the current predicament at all. When you said shamefully, was he really going to give up on his subjects? He was conflicted. Suddenly he thought of something. Oh yes. Did you fly in when you flew down the sandstorm tornado? Zhou asked. No. The Sky-Devouring Thunder Dragon is too fast. Wunya was only more than 3,000 meters away from flying into the sandstorm tornado, but the sky-devouring thunder dragon flew across the distance between us and swallowed us whole. Wunya was a little embarrassed. To Wunya, a distance of more than 3,000 meters was just a blink of an eye. However, she encountered the sky-devouring thunder dragon with even more abnormal speed and was eaten by it. She had no choice. Zhou frowned deeply. Could this be fate? If they could be eaten by the sky-devouring thunder dragon after entering the sandstorm tornado, they might be sensed by the King of Eternal Silence and his wife, who controlled the sandstorm tornado. Then, they might be able to attract the couple's attention. They were a pair of legendary tier advanced grade heroes. It was definitely not a problem to deal with a legendary tier elementary grade sky-devouring thunder dragon that was not even a hero. Unfortunately, they were eaten by the sky-devouring thunder dragon before they could escape into the sandstorm tornado. From the looks of it, he was not saved yet. The King of Eternal Silence and his wife probably didn't notice their existence at all. Zhou was silent for a moment. With a flip of his right hand, a black and gold ancient scroll appeared. It was the Death Immunity Scroll that he had exchanged for, with a Holy Spirit level Faith Divine Crystal, from the God of Death Temple. Treasure Name: Death Immunity Scroll. Treasure Grade: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure Effect: when life forms encounter a death crisis, they can always perfectly resolve this death crisis because of various accidents. Treasure Description: a mystical item created by the god of death Thanatos with the power of the law of death. It can allow the person who obtains it to be immune to a death crisis once. Prompt: it is ineffective against crises at the god tier and above. It's useless against dangers at the god tier and above. The sky-devouring thunder dragon is a legendary tier elementary grade dragon. It should be able to. The next second, a wisp of black will-o-wisp flew out of the death immunity scroll and disappeared into the void. Zhou looked at this scene and secretly looked forward to success. He did not want to give up on his loyal soldiers. Below the sandstorm forbidden land, in the kingdom of Eternal Silence Palace, the king and queen of Eternal Silence, who were sleeping, suddenly had an extremely short dream at the same time. In the dream, they saw a black spaceship being swallowed by a huge black-blue sky-devouring thunder dragon. They felt something. This spaceship was the spaceship that they had promised the mysterious merchant to protect the forces of Blazing Sun City. Both of them suddenly opened their eyes. They looked at each other and slowly disappeared. Above the sandstorm violent storm, the sky-devouring thunder dragon, Ka Feng turned into a bolt of lightning and streaked across the sky at an astonishing speed, leaving the area covered by the sandstorm tornado. Its kingdom was nearby. As one of the local tyrants, it naturally knew that the terrifying sandstorm tornado area under it was the territory of the legendary King of Eternal Silence and his wife. While it was puzzled by its self-isolation behavior, and even felt that the other party was very stupid, being willing to stay in the depths of the ground for thousands of years, instead of caring about their powerful strength and seeking power. Such behavior could not be done without extraordinary awareness and determination. However, even though it felt that the other party was very stupid, it was still very afraid of their strength. It did not want to cause trouble. Right now, it only wanted to leave this place quickly and digest the food it had just eaten. Thinking of the food in his stomach, the sky-devouring thunder dragon could not help but swallow. It sensed the existence of an extremely pure-blooded dragon hero in the black spaceship. If such an existence was at the same strength as it would probably scram as far as it could. No matter how bold it would not dare to provoke it. However, in its perception, this pure-blooded dragon hero was only at the yellow gold tier advanced grade. Thinking of this, it could not help but laugh wildly. It was really a delicious food that delivered itself to its mouth. Even though it was called the sky-devouring thunder dragon, it was actually just a drake with a rich dragon bloodline. It was only by luck that it ate a black fruit, which increased its potential greatly. After thousands of years of killing, its strength had advanced by leaps and bounds to this point. Now, not only had it obtained the favor of the Crimson Overlord, It had also established its own Crimson Kingdom. Thinking about it was like a dream. If it ate this yellow gold tier advanced grade pure-blooded dragon hero, not only could the dragon bloodline in its body increase again, it might also be able to comprehend the hero fate level slot in the other party's body and become a true noble hero. This was definitely the second great opportunity he had obtained since the black fruit. Thinking of this, it flew faster away from the sandstorm tornado area. It could not wait to enjoy the taste of a pure-blooded dragon hero. But at this moment, rumble! A deafening thunderclap suddenly sounded. It was so high-pitched that it even hurt the ears of a legendary tier elementary grade expert. The next second, a large amount of lightning and wind flew out of the sandstorm tornado below and formed a towering figure 5,000 meters tall in front of it. Its entire body was wrapped in lightning and wind. It was wearing ancient black armor, and on its shoulder stood 1,000-meter-tall wind spirit and 1,000-meter-tall lightning spirit. It was the King of Eternal Silence. Chapter 278 Black Seed Spit out what you just ate. The King of Eternal Silence's voice rumbled, as if the god of wind and thunder was giving an oracle. The sky-devouring thunder dragon looked at the other party's majestic body with extreme fear. Using the vengeful spirit body to control the power of wind and lightning, this was completely inconsistent with common sense. No wonder the other legendary tier existences said that the King of Eternal Silence and his wife were not far from divinity to become god spirits. It was silent for a second before suddenly turning around and driving its aurora lightning wings in the opposite direction with all its might. However, it saw a towering female figure that was not inferior to the King of Eternal Silence not long after it flew. She was wearing dark golden armor and seemed to have stars flickering on the surface of her body. She appeared out of thin air in the direction it fled. It was the Eternal Silence Queen. Spit out what you just ate. The Eternal Silence Queen's voice rumbled. Every word was like a falling star, causing the soul of the sky-devouring thunder dragon to ache faintly. The sky-devouring thunder dragon was shocked. Your Majesties, don't attack. We can discuss this. If you want the spaceship I ate, I'll spit it out. The sky-devouring thunder dragon said. With that, it opened its mouth, and rays of spatial distortion appeared beside it. But in the next second, it suddenly disappeared. The world seemed to have lost its existence. The King of Eternal Silence and the Queen of Eternal Silence watched this scene calmly. Eternal Silence, country. The soft voice of the King of Eternal Silence came from the sky. When Zhou and the others saw the scenery outside again, they also saw the figures of the King of Eternal Silence and the Queen of Eternal Silence. Zhou could not help but fall into shock. Was this the true form of the two legendary tier advanced grade majesties? It was completely different from what he had seen in the Eternal Silence Palace. My death immunity scroll actually attracted these two's help? Well, at this distance, only these two could help resolve his crisis. Come out and meet us. Don't worry, that sky-devouring thunder dragon is already dead. At this moment, the King of Eternal Silence's voice sounded. Wuxia, open the hatch. Zhou came back to his senses, took a deep breath, and said solemnly, Yes, my lord. When you trailed off, a spatial door appeared in front of him out of thin air, as soon as she finished speaking. Seeing this, Zhou used the flying ability of the new wind ceremony on his body, and took a step forward to arrive outside the flying ship. Then he saw the two majesties. He used the energy in his body to set up a protective membrane, to prevent the strong wind and cold from attacking him. Then he bowed and said, Greetings, majesties. Thank you for saving me this time. Otherwise we might be in a life and death crisis. Why don't we leave through the sandstorm forbidden land? The King of Eternal Silence said. As a lord, I want to see what the domain in the sky looks like. Zhou told the truth. The King of Eternal Silence and his wife nodded slightly. That was normal. However, he lacked some common sense. Explore the high continent first. The domain of the sky will come when you have a god-tier subject in your territory. The Queen of Eternal Silence said warmly. Are there god spirits in the sky? Zhou was secretly shocked. That's right. After they become a god spirit, They will have to build their own divine kingdom in the starry sky. The closer we are to the sky, the closer we are to the divine kingdom of the God spirits. For lords like you who have just begun your growth, the chances of being close to gods and encountering bad things are far higher than the chances of encountering good things. Thank you for your guidance. Zhou thanked him sincerely. He did not know such common knowledge. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have come. He had wasted a death immunity scroll for nothing. Fortunately, he had gained something from the stomach of the sky-devouring thunder dragon. Otherwise, he would have suffered a huge loss. After the two kings finished speaking, they looked towards Black Ghost. A hint of laughter appeared in their eyes. That spectral dragon had already been born. Moreover, its strength had increased quite quickly, and was already at the white silver tier advanced grade. Not only that, it also had a companion, which was also a pure-blooded dragon. That mysterious merchant had sold it to a good buyer. They only felt that the mysterious merchant had sold the spectral dragon egg to the Lord of Blazing Sun City. They had never thought that the Lord of Blazing Sun City was the mysterious merchant who had traded with them back then. After all, according to normal high continent common sense, how could the most mysterious merchant faction be related to a lord who had just risen, just passed through the sandstorm forbidden land in the future? We can sense your existence in the sandstorm forbidden zone. Otherwise, what happened today could happen again. Fortunately, we had a premonition of the danger you encountered and could temporarily leave the seal. Otherwise, you would probably have died here today. The Queen of Eternal Silence muttered. Oh, crave it to my heart, Zhou said respectfully. It turned out that the death immunity scroll had affected the premonition of these two kings. That was why they could sense the danger they had encountered in the Kingdom of Eternal Silence. TSK. An epic tier treasure could actually resolve a crisis related to a legendary tier enemy. What a good item. In the future, if he obtained another Holy Spirit tier faith divine crystal, he would have to exchange for a few more from the God of Death. This item felt useless when he did not need it, but it could really save his life when it was really necessary. He looked at the couple and felt a little emotional. These legendary tier majesties really did not put on any airs. Their conversation was abnormally intimate. Perhaps this was also related to the fact that they had been living underground. On the other side, the King and Queen of Eternal Silence nodded when they saw Zhou's appearance. He was a young man who listened. Leave, the King of Eternal Silence said. In the end, I still have to thank the two majesties for saving my life. Leave now, Zhou said politely. Then he returned to the Black Ghost. Then, Black Ghost turned into a black stream of light and rushed into the sandstorm tornado. Just as they rushed in, the sandstorm tornado seemed to have a consciousness and automatically made way for the Black Ghost to fly in and fly towards the green wilderness. This Lord of the Blazing Sun is not an ordinary person. Even though he's still very weak, his subordinates all have great potential. The Queen of Eternal Silence smiled. None of the people who can trade with the mysterious merchant are simple. The King of Eternal Silence said. The Queen of Eternal Silence nodded. The two of them were not in a hurry to leave. Instead, they stood there and quietly looked at the scenery. It's beautiful, the Queen of Eternal Silence muttered. The King of Eternal Silence did not speak. He only took the Eternal Silence Queen's hand. The two of them quietly looked at the most ordinary and charming scenery in the sky. After a long time, the King of Eternal Silence pulled the reluctant Queen of Eternal Silence into the sandstorm tornado again and returned to the Kingdom of Eternal Silence. On the other side, Zhou stood in front of the window and quietly looked at the scenery outside. I was too rash. As a lord, my idea of exploring my surroundings is right, but I should have done a thorough investigation before coming. This time, all of us survived because of the death immunity scroll. If I encounter such a situation again, I'm afraid I can only rely on return to the city. Zhou reflected on himself. His smooth sailing experience during this period of time had made him a little arrogant. He actually caused such a thing to happen. He was indeed invincible among the human lords of the cerulean planet. However, he was still not worth mentioning among the lords of all races, or even in front of the factions and experts who had developed for thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years in the high continent. He took a deep breath and stretched out his right hand to look at an item in his palm. It was a seed, a black seed. This was his only gain in the stomach of the sky-devouring thunder dragon. Chapter 279 High-Level Wood Elf Zhou looked at the seed. It was Zhou who had immediately ordered Wuxia to search for the treasures around the flying ship, when he sensed that someone was saving them from the outside world. This legendary tier elementary grade sky-devouring thunder dragon had such a huge stomach. Anything it left behind could be considered a treasure in the outside world. In the end, Wuxia discovered that even though the stomach of the sky-devouring thunder dragon was unbelievably big, there was only one black seed left in it. The other items had been melted by its stomach fluid. Zhou did not think too much about it when he heard this news. He immediately asked Wuxia to put it away. Until now, Zhou looked at the black seed. A text notification appeared. Treasure name, Sacred Blood Fruit Seed. Treasure level, True God tier. Treasure effect. After planting it, it can be nurtured into a sacred blood flower with the bloodline of various creatures. The sacred blood flower can produce a sacred blood fruit. After eating it, it can be used to purify the highest level bloodline you possess. It can be purified to the true God tier bloodline. Treasure description. The legendary sacred blood fruit that can increase one's bloodline. Even most god spirits have only heard of it and never seen it with their own eyes. Zhou's eyes widened. A true god tier fruit seed? Moreover, it was a fruit that could purify the bloodline. The thing taken out of the stomach of the legendary tier elementary Scarlet Lord was indeed a treasure. However, when he saw the description in the treasure's effect that it needed to be watered with bloodline to nurture the sacred blood flower, he could not help but raise his eyebrows slightly. I actually need to water it with bloodline? Then this nurturing difficulty is really high. Zhou frowned slightly. Bloodlines did not refer to bloodlines that could be seen everywhere. The bloodline mentioned in its treasure effect could only be obtained from loots like the vampire bloodline that Zhou had obtained in the past. He would water it with his vampire bloodline when he returned. Zhou thought. He had never taken out these vampire baron bloodlines for the soldiers to exchange for them, because he was worried about the suppression of the high-level vampire bloodline on the low-level vampire bloodline. Instead, he had kept them in his hands. He had originally wanted to take it out to exchange with the soldiers, after finding a solution to the problem of the bloodline suppression of the vampire bloodline. Since he had no clue how to do that, he could use it to water the seeds of the sacred blood fruit. Thinking of this, Zhou solemnly put away the seed and prepared to nurture it when he returned to the territory at night. As for now, he had to deal with Dark Night Town first. Thinking of this, he took out the map. Then, he accidentally discovered that there were 2 green bronze tier regional territories and 1 black iron tier regional territories in the east and west of the Sandstorm Forbidden Land and in the east of the Green Forest. Zhou remembered. Wu Tu had told him this a long time ago. It was just that so much time had passed, and he could not lead the army through the Sandstorm Forbidden Land back then. So he gradually forgot about it. Then let's settle it smoothly. It won't take long anyway. Let's deal with Dark Night Town after dealing with this black iron tier region, 2 green bronze tier regions, and 2 white silver tier regions. Zhou made a decision. Fighting 1 region was fighting. Fighting 2 regions was also considered fighting. It was better to deal with it all at once, so that he would not have to make another trip in the future. In any case, with the strength of these low-level regional territories, it was not a problem for his more than 70,000 military professionals to deal with them. Half a minute later, the Black Ghost flew out of the Sandstorm Forbidden Land and arrived at the territory of the Green Forest. As soon as they entered this area, Wuxia very considerately turned on the virtual screen for the soldiers in every area of the Black Ghost to broadcast the current environment of the Green Forest. The greenery was just like its name. Not only was the vegetation lush, but there was also abundant water. All kinds of small animals could be seen everywhere, looking lively. When the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army saw the environment here, They were immediately surprised and delighted. So many green plants. I see the creek in the woods. There. After today, the Scarlet Lord forces in this area should be completely destroyed by our Lord. At that time, this area will be ours. Everyone was discussing spiritedly. They liked the environment of the green forest very much. At the same time, in the captain's cabin, Zhou could not help but sigh when he saw the green forest. It was clearly so close to the blazing sun desert, and the north was a natural disaster forbidden area like the sandstorm forbidden zone. However, the environment here was like a paradise. It was simply unbelievable. Zhou did not understand the mystery behind this. Perhaps this was nature's uncanny workmanship. Let's descend, Zhou ordered. Yes, my lord. Wuxia accepted the order. Then, she let the black ghost begin to descend quickly, and quickly stopped in the air on a flat grassland. And before that, Zhou also used the communication function of the spaceship to get all the members of the army to prepare for battle. Therefore, even though many people still could not help but look at the surrounding scenery, most of them had serious expressions and were ready to fight when they emerged from the black ghost. After Zhou came down from the black spirit, he immediately took out the map of the green forest and looked at it. In the white silver tier territory of the green forest, there were a total of 3 white silver tier Scarlet Lord territories, 5 green bronze tier Scarlet Lord territories, 12 black iron tier Scarlet Lord territories, and 6 foreign race Lord territories. The Lord's territory was extraordinarily large. It should be because this place was rich in resources and suitable for living. After Zhou looked at the map for a while, he handed it to Bai Yun and let her make the decision. After Bai Yun took a look, she ordered the members of the 2 legions to rush to the green bronze tier Scarlet Lord's territory closest to them. 2 hours later, the green wilderness was completely captured by the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army. Seeing this, Zhou got all the members of the army to board the Black Ghost again and fly towards the green bronze tier territory beside them. On the spaceship, Zhou looked at a branch in his hand. This branch was completely emerald green and emitted a vibrant green aura and green light. In Zhou's perception, it was simply like a living creature and even had a weak heartbeat. In fact, half an hour ago, its owner was indeed alive. It came from a wood elf and was one of the 6 lords of the green forest. Zhou was barely related to the Elven Empire because of the blood rocket spirit Nadia. Originally, he wanted to persuade the other party to surrender. After all, even though the other party had more than 2,000 low-level wood elves, however, it was still not worth mentioning in front of his more than 70,000 army. However, even though the other party had seen his strength and knew that he could not win, he refused to surrender. Even though Zhou admired the other party's courage, he did not stand on ceremony and directly destroyed them all. Then, he obtained this branch from the loot of the other party's Lord Quality +1. Zhou looked at the branch. The item information appeared. Bloodline name: High-level Wood Elf Race Bloodline. Bloodline level: Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. Bloodline effect: After absorbing it, the user can obtain an Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade Bloodline, the High-level Wood Elf Bloodline. After fusing with this bloodline, the user will gradually awaken some of the racial abilities of the high-level Wood Elves during their growth. Prompt: Fuse 100 sets of Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade High-level Wood Elf Bloodline, and you can obtain 1 Epic Tier Intermediate Tier Nature Elf Bloodline. Chaos Human Race Bloodline Optimization Hint 1. After the Chaos Human Race absorbs it, they can erase the plant divinity of the Tree of Life in this high-level Wood Elves bloodline, thereby preventing the Chaos Human Race from being affected by the Tree of Life. Chaos Human Race Bloodline Optimization Hint 2. After the Chaos Human Race absorbs it, the racial skill, Summon Treant Leader, will be upgraded to Summon Chaos Demon Tree Leader. Do you want to absorb it? Chapter 280 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Chaos Human Bloodline. Racial Talent and Racial Skill. Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Wood Elf Bloodline. It's stronger than the Vampire Viscount's bloodline. Zhou sighed. The Vampire Viscount's bloodline was only at the Diamond Tier Advanced grade. This bloodline was one whole level higher than the Vampire Viscount bloodline. Not only that, it was also strengthened by the Chaos Human Race bloodline. Mythical Tier bloodline was awesome. In addition, he felt a little emotional. It was really difficult to encounter this group of lords of all races who could drop bloodlines. Until now, he had only encountered this Wood Elf Lord and the previous Vampire Lord. As for the other Lord of all races that Zhou encountered, they were all ordinary lords who would not drop bloodlines. On the Lord battlefield, he could encounter many lords with top-notch bloodlines. However, they all had the Resurrection Token and Rebirth Token. They were simply unkillable on the Lord battlefield. Otherwise, his Chaos Human Race bloodline would have long advanced to a very high level. Then, Zhou looked at the branch and chose to absorb it without hesitation. A text notification appeared. You have absorbed one high-level Wood Elf bloodline, Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade. Your Chaos Human Race bloodline has unearthed more potential and advanced to Green Bronze Tier Elementary grade. Your Sixth Senses ability has been strengthened. You have awakened the White Silver Tier Advanced grade Human Race talent of Chaos, Chaos Will. You have awakened the racial talent of the Wood Elves, Plant Affinity. You have awakened the racial talent of the Wood Elves, a high-level Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade. Grow quickly. You have mastered the Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade racial skill, Plant Whisperer. You have mastered the Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade racial skill, Plant Manipulation. You have mastered the Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade racial skill, Summon the Treant Leader. Your racial skill, Summon Treant Leader, Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade, has been strengthened and advanced to Summon Chaos Demon Tree Leader, Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade. The next second, Zhou felt that his will was especially clear. At the same time, his perception of his surroundings had increased by 3 to 4 times. At the same time, he could feel green light spots floating in his surroundings. The aura emitted by these green light spots was extremely similar to the aura emitted by the branch. Zhou was a little surprised. Was this an Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade bloodline? It was indeed extraordinary. It directly awakened 3 racial talents and mastered 3 racial skills. Zhou opened them one by one. Firstly, it was naturally the racial talent awakened by the Chaos Human Race's bloodline. Race talent name, Chaotic Will, talent level, White Silver Tier Advanced grade, Enhanceable, talent description. The innate will of the Chaos Human Race is incomparably powerful. Most of what you experience will silently become enlightenment in your mind, allowing your mind and will to grow quickly. When facing will-related attacks such as illusion confusion, mental manipulation, and soul attacks, the Chaos Human Race has a higher chance of being immune to such attacks. When Zhou saw this racial talent, he could not help but smile in surprise. He had very few methods to resist illusions, mental manipulation, and soul attacks, but such attacks were often the most fatal once they were hit. They were even harder to deal with than physical attacks. Moreover, this racial talent was the same as the chaotic physique that he had awakened previously. It was a racial talent that could grow. Even in the future, this racial talent would not be outdated and could still provide him with help. Then, he looked at the racial talent awakened by the high-level Wood Elves. Race talent name, Plant Affinity, talent level, Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade, Enhanceable race talent name, Grow quickly, talent level, Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade, Enhanceable, talent description. A high-level Wood Elf can shorten the growth time of the plant life form by instilling the Wood attribute origin energy in its body into the plant, and make the plant life form grow more perfectly. Zhou nodded slightly. Even though these 2 racial talents were not as useful to him as the chaotic will, they were still very outstanding in terms of support. Finally, he looked at the 3 racial skills that had been awakened. Race skill name, Plant Whisperer, skill quality, Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade, race skill description. High-level Wood Elves can communicate with plant life forms by releasing their Wood attribute energy. Note: the higher the level of life of a plant, the easier it is to communicate. At the same time, the more information you obtain through communication. Conversely, the harder it is to communicate, the less information you obtain. Race skill name. Plant manipulation, skill quality. Extraordinary tier elementary grade. Race skill description. A high-level wood elf can control all plant life forms within the range of his mental power that are not stronger than him. Race skill name. Summon Chaos Demon Tree Leader. Skill quality. Extraordinary tier elementary grade. Race skill description. Summon a Chaos Demon Tree Leader with the same strength as you. The Chaos Demon Tree Leader has the combat strength equivalent to a regional Scarlet Lord. It can summon the Chaos Demon Tree Leader at the extraordinary tier elementary grade at most. Zhou was quite satisfied with the skills of these three races, especially the final summon of the Chaos Demon Tree Leader. Even though he could only summon one, its strength was comparable to the Scarlet Lord. He was now a White Silver tier advanced grade, which meant that he could summon a White Silver tier advanced grade Scarlet Lord. His personal safety increased again. I've gained a lot, Zhou said happily. Bloodline loots were indeed good things. Then he looked at his spatial ring. He saw that there were still 2,132 sets of Diamond tier elementary grade Wood Elf's bloodline in his spatial ring. If it was synthesized, it could synthesize 21 high-level Wood Elf bloodlines. But it could not further synthesize the Nature Elf bloodline. Zhou felt that it was a pity. If he could synthesize a Nature Elf bloodline, the racial talent and skills that he had just awakened would definitely increase again. These Wood Elves don't have vampire bloodlines, so there aren't many restrictions. The soldiers can exchange it, increase their potential and combat strength. Zhou thought. Then he thought for a while and stopped thinking about it. He focused on the next battle. In the next 3 hours, Zhou led the Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army to conquer 1 Black Iron tier regional territory, 2 Green Bronze tier regional territories, and 1 White Silver tier regional territory. When they encountered casualties, he had Carol Moeli and the others heal and revive. Under such circumstances, when they arrived at Dark Knight Town, they were still at full force. There was not even an injured person or monster soldier. Chapter 281 Green-Headed Fog Demon. All guns fired. 10,000 meters in the sky. A black spaceship was quietly floating here. It was the Black Ghost. At this moment, Zhou, Bai Yin Wu Xian, and the others were looking at the virtual screen in front of them. On the virtual screen, a black city covering 250,000 square kilometers stood there. Groups of scarlet soldiers with greenish-gray faces and 2 blood-red fangs curled up at the corners of their mouths were patrolling the city wall in an orderly manner. They did not look like the usual fog monsters that Zhou saw. Zhou's expression was slightly solemn. The size of this city alone was more than 20 times his own. This Dark Knight town was probably either a yellow gold tier intermediate grade territory or a yellow gold tier advanced grade territory. Zhou felt that the latter was more likely. In addition, he had already seen the other party's state on the attached invitation on the map. However, the information on paper felt completely different from what he had seen with his own eyes in reality. Seeing the scene in front of him made him truly experience the difference between fog monsters with a kingdom. Compared to them, the Scarlet Lords that Zhou had dealt with earlier were simply like undisciplined stragglers. He narrowed his eyes slightly at this monster. Monster information appeared. Monster name: Green-Headed Fog Demon, Strength Level, Green Bronze Tier Advanced Grade. Monster description: one of the 3 great armies of the Taiyan Kingdom, Dark Knight Town. The green-headed armies patrolling Green Sword Soldier. They have a strong physical body and are good at close combat. They also have the ability to intimidate the enemy with mental attacks. Loots: 8 Green Bronze Tier Mist Cores drop rate, 100%. 1 Green-Headed Green Sword Soldier set drop rate, 5%. 1 Green Bronze Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Roar of Fear drop rate, 3%. 1 True Faith Tier Scarlet Crystal drop rate, 1%. After Zhou finished reading, he observed for a while more. Then, he realized that this yellow gold tier Dark Knight town also had an existence similar to the Supreme Barrier. Zhou asked the Supreme Will. He did not expect the Supreme Will notification to really respond. It told Zhou that this was called the Scarlet Barrier. Similar to his Supreme Barrier, it only existed in the territory of Scarlet Lords above Yellow Gold tier, and had the ability to defend against external attacks. However, it did not have the ability to resist the invasion of the Scarlet Fog. Instead, it helped condense the surrounding Scarlet Fog. Zhou observed for a while, and then fell into deep thought. According to the map Wu Tu gave me, there are about 90,000 fog monsters in this Dark Night town. There are white platinum tier Scarlet Lords among them. Moreover, other than the Scarlet Lords, there are also many white platinum tier ordinary fog monsters. The rest are yellow gold, white silver, green bronze, and black iron tier fog monsters. Most of them are black iron tier. Most of these black iron tier fog monsters are not combat fog monsters, but civilian fog monsters and life profession fog monsters. Zhou narrowed his eyes slightly. This was another difference between the fog monsters with the kingdom. They had already begun to be sorted into different categories. Not only were there fog monsters that specialized in combat, and were in charge of protecting the Scarlet Territory, there were also fog monsters that were in charge of internal resupply. This was already about the same level of development as a normal lord. This was also one of the reasons why they, the fog monsters, had been fighting the local lords of the High Continent for tens of thousands of years without winning. If all the fog monsters were boorish, they would have long been captured by the local lords. How could they have the chance to appear in the lords of all races? Thinking of this, Zhou took a deep breath. At this moment, while he felt that the other party was a little difficult to deal with, he could not help but feel excited. He was already tired of fighting those stupid fog monsters that only knew how to fight and kill. These fog monsters were the true opponent worthy of being taken seriously. When you land, Bai Yin, Elder Wu, prepare to fight. Take down Dark Night Town today, Zhou said in a low voice. Wenya, Bai Yin, and Wu Xian replied, yes. Wenya controlled the Black Ghost to land about 10 kilometers away from Dark Night Town soon. Even though 10 kilometers was considered relatively far, the fog monsters in Dark Night Town still discovered it because of the huge size of the Black Spirit. With his powerful vision, Zhou could clearly see the soldiers of Dark Night Town 10 kilometers away. They began to run up and down in teams, and had already begun to prepare for battle. So vigilant, Zhou raised his eyebrows. Soon, after all her subordinates walked out of the Black Ghost, Bai Yin led everyone towards Dark Night Town. After the green-headed fog demon soldiers of Dark Night Town prepared to fight, they did not choose to leave the city to fight. Instead, they guarded the city wall and waited for them to come. When Zhou saw this scene, he realized even more how different the other party was. If it were the fog monsters he had encountered in the past, they would probably have rushed out to fight them. He did not know how to rely on the advantage of the city wall to fight like now. Bai Yin and the others were not anxious when they saw this scene. Instead, they calmly led the army forward. When they arrived at Dark Night Town, about 4,900 meters away, Bai Yin suddenly ordered the entire army to stop. Bring up the fog cannon, Bai Yin ordered. Yes. The soldiers of an artillery brigade, 1,000 soldiers, immediately responded to Bai Yin's orders. Soon, a total of 100 yellow gold tier advanced grade mist energy cannon were carried up. This was the result of Zhang Kexuan's call for all the alchemy technicians in the Gnome Alchemy Workshop to work day and night. When the fog soldiers guarding the city wall of Dark Night Town saw this scene, they were a little surprised. On the other side, aim at the city gate. Prepare to fire, Bai Yin ordered. Aim at the city gate. Fire! All the gunners ordered. The next second, boom, 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 boom. A total of 100 mist energy cannons were fired in unison, in the blink of an eye. They streaked across 100 gray streams of light in the air, then smashed into the Scarlet Barrier with a world-shaking sound. In just a second, the 100 mist energy cannonballs passed through the Scarlet Barrier and smashed into the city walls and gates of Dark Night Town. Rumble! The 100-meter-long city wall was directly shattered by the mist energy cannonballs. turning into a large amount of gravel and hundreds of green-headed fog demons that fell to the ground. Some of the 40 to 55-meter tall green-headed fog demons fell to their deaths, while others were smashed to death by the falling rubble after being severely injured. In short, not a single green-headed fog demon survived. Not only that, these 100 mist energy cannonballs even shattered a third of the city gate of Dark Knight Town. The green-headed fog demon's side immediately fell into chaos when they saw this. A green-headed fog demon leader at the yellow gold tier advance grade immediately asked the green-headed archers to shoot back. However, the distance of 4,900 meters was not within the range of these black iron tier green-headed archers at all. Only a few dozen white silver tier green-headed archers managed to shoot over, but they were easily blocked by Zhou soldiers. When Zhou saw the shocking effect of the 100 mist energy cannonballs, his eyes lit up. So strong. That was indeed the case. The more mist energy cannons there were, the more obvious the effect would be. Then his heart ached. The power of these mist energy cannons was indeed strong. However, its consumption of mist cores was a little high. A yellow gold tier mist core was only enough to fire 10 cannonballs. The 100 mist energy cannons just now were equivalent to 10 yellow gold tier mist cores. War was really costly. Zhou clicked his tongue. He told Bai Yin to continue fighting boldly while his heart ached. I don't lack money. Didn't I earn so much mist cores just to spend them? As long as it could produce results, he was willing to spend until he went bankrupt. Chapter 282 Insight Defection. 7,396 Green-Headed Fog Demons. Bai Yin's eyes lit up when she heard Zhou's words. Then, she continued to order the gunners to continue firing without hesitation. Boom, 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 boom. Half a minute later, another 900 shells were fired. Zhou did not say anything on the surface. However, the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch a few times. Another 90 yellow gold tier mist cores. However, his expression improved slightly when he saw the tragic state opposite him. The city wall that was nearly 1,000 meters tall had already been collapsed by the 100 mist energy cannons in front of the other party's city. As for the city gate, it had disappeared at some point. The current Dark Knight Town was an undefended city on the main battlefield to them. The other party also understood this. A white platinum tier elementary grade green-headed fog demon immediately stood up. It shouted in a language that Zhou could not understand, and quickly gathered the soldiers of the green-headed fog demon army. In less than a minute, 30,000 to 40,000 green-headed fog demon soldiers had gathered, and their numbers were increasing. Bai Yin naturally wouldn't wait for them to gather. Wuxia and her immediately summoned all the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army to attack this group of green-headed fog demons. Nazario and Auguste also flew towards the fog monster soldiers under Zhou's orders. Seeing Bai Yin and the others rush up, especially the two terrifying pure-blooded dragons in the sky, the leader of the green-headed fog demon was also shocked. It could not continue to gather, so it could only lead the nearly 50,000 green-headed fog demons to charge at Bai Yin and the others. When Zhou saw this, he stretched out his right hand and aimed his palm at them. White Silver Tier Lord Talent. Insight Defection activate. Boom. An invisible fluctuation instantly covered the entire Dark Knight Town. The next second, the bodies of the more than 92,000 monster soldiers and subjects in Dark Knight Town stiffened. Then the expression in their eyes changed. They turned around and attacked their companions beside them without hesitation. At this moment, whether it was the fog monster soldiers charging outside the city wall, or the fog monster soldiers and monster civilians preparing to charge inside the city wall, everything was completely chaotic at this moment. What's going on? Why are my soldiers and civilians suddenly fighting among themselves? The mayor of Dark Knight Town, who was also the strongest green-headed fog demon lord, Zaha, was immediately shocked and furious when he saw this scene. My lord, this must be the doing of that detestable lord that is attacking. Some of the lord of all races with the supreme will have strange methods. I heard from my brothers nearby that they're extremely annoyed by the various methods of these lords. Some brothers lost their lives because they didn't understand the other party's methods and returned to the kingdom of the Scarlet Lord. We have to be careful. A white platinum tier intermediate grade green-headed fog demon leader, carrying a spear on his back, walked over and said respectfully, "What a difficult lord of all races." The green-headed fog demon lord's anger subsided a little when it heard this. It nodded with an ugly expression. The green-headed fog demon leader nodded. Zaha asked curiously, "I just went to escort the green-headed fog demon who asked for help." The green-headed fog demon leader, Ruji, said respectfully. Zaha nodded and turned to his map. "I hope our allies from East Demon City and Red Wasp Town arrive soon. Even though this group of lords of all races has just appeared, they're coming aggressively. We can't underestimate them." Zaha said, "My lord, you're too humble. How can these lords of all races be your match? You can deal with them with a wave of your hand." Ruji smiled. "Don't say that. I rumble." A greenish-gray saber beam lit up. At this critical moment, Zaha suddenly turned around and grabbed the greenish-gray azure-edged nether saber with one hand. Even though the saber was grabbed, it was still vibrating in his palm. It could be seen how fierce and ruthless the person who used the saber was. Zaha looked at the green-headed fog demon leader, Ruji, with an ugly expression. "I think I've treated you very well and treat you as my closest subordinate. Why did you do that?" It said angrily. "Of course it's to give the chief credit for today's battle to my lord. It's a pity. I couldn't kill you with one slash." Ruji sneered. "My lord, you're a spy arranged by the other party? When was that?" Zaha's expression turned even uglier. "Let's ask that lord when we return to the embrace of the Scarlet Lord." After saying that, Ruji suddenly retracted his saber and slashed at the other party again. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of weapons colliding sounded continuously. The two green-headed fog demons fought intensely. The surrounding green-headed fog demons finally recovered from their shock. They immediately went forward to help. Originally, Ruji could barely fight to a draw with the green-headed fog demon lord, Zaha, because the other party was not holding any weapons. However, Zaha immediately retrieved his weapon with the help of the surrounding green-headed fog demons. In addition to these green-headed fog demons, there were 3 to 4 white platinum tier elementary grade green-headed fog demon leaders. Ruji's situation immediately became dangerous. It fought and retreated at the same time. Soon it flew out of the room and came to the air to start fighting. At the same time, while the green-headed fog demons were in chaos, Bai Yin and Wu Xian were naturally very familiar with this scene. They knew that this was the Lord's method. As they praised the Lord in their hearts, they skillfully seized this opportunity and led all the soldiers to attack these green-headed fog demons. Kill these monsters! Charge! For military merits! Amidst countless furious roars, the two sides quickly collided and immediately started fighting fiercely. Behind the battlefield, after Zhou Zhou activated Insight Defection, he looked at the battlefield for a few seconds. He looked at the Lord Talent notification, seeing that he had the advantage on the battlefield. Prompt: you have activated your Lord exclusive talent, Insight Defection. Insight Defection has taken effect. Lord Talent hint. A total of 3,936 black iron tier green-headed fog demons, 2019 green bronze tier green-headed fog demons, 996 white silver tier elite green-headed fog demons, 437 yellow gold tier green-headed fog demon leaders, and 8 white platinum tier green-headed fog demon leaders have betrayed their lord faction and become your loyal subordinates. Zhou eyes lit up. Good God! Last time, he had instigated 4,100 wild stone monsters to defect. This time, he had instigated 7,396 green-headed fog demons to defect. Indeed, the more enemies there were, the more satisfying it would be to incite defection. Zhou felt very happy. It was just a wave of Insight Defection, and more than 7,000 subordinates had arrived. He did not know how many would survive after this battle. If more of them survived, he would have more than 90,000 soldiers by tomorrow. At this moment he suddenly heard a bang. Then, he saw a group of green-headed fog demons attacking a white platinum tier intermediate grade green-headed fog demon leader. Zhou immediately knew that they were from his side. Nazario Auguste and Feng Luo. Go and support the besieged green-headed fog demon. It's one of us. Zhou saw that Feng Luo, the talent attracted by his reputation rating, who had just been recruited today, was the closest to Ruoji. He also used the mental communication ability he had obtained from the Wild Stone King to call him up. When Nazario and Auguste heard the order, they flew over. Yes, Feng Luo was stunned for a moment. Then, he slashed the white platinum tier elementary grade green-headed fog demon leader in front of him to death with his saber, and immediately went to provide support. Chapter 283 Zaha's Loots. Feng Luo's Saber Technique. Clang! Feng Luo slashed apart the few green-headed fog demons surrounding Ruoji, leaving only the green-headed fog demon lord, Zaha, beside Ruoji. Then, he repelled Zaha with another slash and covered Ruoji behind him. Then he looked at him calmly. When Ruoji saw this, his eyes widened. What a fierce human! A single slash could actually send his previous lord retreating. Then he was delighted. Let's work together. Let's get rid of this guy together, Ruoji immediately said. Feng Luo turned to look at it with a strange expression. This was the first time he had worked with the fog monsters to deal with other fog monsters. However, he did not think too much about it. Since the Lord said that he was on his side and was not too weak, there was no harm in joining forces. You deal with the other green-headed fog demons. He'll deal with this guy. Feng Luo looked at Zaha, whose expression had turned serious, and said without turning his head, You're alone? Are you confident? Ruoji was stunned for a moment before asking. I can try. Feng Luo said. Ruoji looked at him hesitantly and finally nodded. After Feng Luo finished speaking, he did not even turn his head. He held his shield in his left hand and his saber in his right. He flew towards Zaha at an astonishing speed. Zaha immediately snorted, seeing that the traitor, Ruoji, did not follow, but went to stop the other green-headed fog demons from approaching. Even though his slash just now made it feel that this human was a very strong opponent, however, he was too arrogant to dare to challenge him alone. Back then, it could become the Lord of Dark Night Town, because it slashed with the Azure Edge Nether Saber in its hand. Otherwise, it would not be the only white platinum tier advanced grade green-headed fog demon in the entire Dark Night Town. Zaha held the Azure Edge Nether Saber with both hands and slashed at Feng Luo. A greenish-black saber energy instantly left the saber and slashed over. Zaha gripped the Azure Edge Nether Saber tightly with both hands and slashed down, shattering the saber chi. At the same time, Feng Luo also followed closely behind. He rushed in front of Zaha and slashed at the opposite door. Zaha twisted his body. Even though he narrowly dodged the saber, he was still touched by the saber energy spreading on the saber. However, its physique was very strong. This slash only cut an extremely shallow wound on its body. Then, Zaha slashed at Ruoji, but the other party seemed to know the trajectory of the saber and blocked it. Clang, 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 clang. The two of them fought extremely quickly. Streaks of greenish-black or pure white saber energy slashed in all directions. No matter how tall and sturdy a building or city wall was, it could not withstand a single blow from these two white platinum tier experts. In less than a moment, the surrounding buildings and city walls were swept clean by the two of them with their saber chi, leaving only rocks that had been shattered by the saber chi on the ground. The surrounding humans and the green-headed fog demon had long left this place to fight, afraid that the aftershock of their battle would affect them. Everyone was secretly shocked by the strength of these two people. When Nazario and Auguste saw that this human could actually fight to a draw and even suppress this green-headed fog demon lord, they could not help but be surprised that this person's combat strength was so outstanding. No one else could compare to him other than the two heroes, Bai Yun and Wu Xan. Then, the two of them were told by Zhou not to disturb Feng Luo, and were arranged to clean up the surrounding green-headed fog demons. The two pure-blooded dragons naturally obeyed, and turned to clean up the surrounding green-headed fog demons. Zhou's eyes lit up when he saw Feng Luo's battle. Was this the true combat strength to walk his own path as a sword-shield soldier? He could actually fight a regional Scarlet Lord as a sword shield soldier, as expected of a talent attracted by legendary tier. The reason why he did not let Nazario and the others interfere was because he wanted to use this Scarlet Lord to see his ability as a new legendary tier talent. Now, it seemed that he did not disappoint him. Then, Zhou shifted his gaze from Feng Luo to the green-headed Fog Demon Lord. A monster notification appeared. Monster name: Green-headed Fog Demon Lord, Zaha, Regional Scarlet Lord. Strength level: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Monster description: the mayor of Dark Knight Town, also one of the lords of the green-headed Fog Demon race. He manages the entire territory of Dark Knight Town and has many powerful green-headed Fog Demon subordinates under him. He has a strong physique, extremely strong physical defense, and is proficient in saber techniques. Loot's drop rate: 50 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores drop rate, 100%. 30 Origin Crystals drop rate, 100%. 1 White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Azure Edge Nether Saber drop rate, 10%. 1 White Platinum Tier Advanced Secret Manual, Azure Edge Saber drop rate, 5%. 1 White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Secret Manual, Green-Headed Ghost Body drop rate, 5%. 1 Fanatic Believer Scarlet Crystals drop rate, 1%. 9 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments drop rate, 0%. It's actually a martial artist type Scarlet Lord? And there are actually believer level Scarlet Crystals? Zhou's eyes lit up. There was naturally no need to mention the 2 White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Martial Arts Manuals. If it dropped, it would be upgraded to a Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Martial Arts Manual. It was naturally extremely precious and useful to a martial artist like him. As for Fanatic Tier Scarlet Crystals, after they dropped, they would become Holy Spirit Tier Scarlet Crystals after Quality +1. When converted to the Shelter of the Goddess of Life, it would become a Holy Spirit Tier Faith Divine Crystal. This good thing might be able to be exchanged for another Death Immunity Scroll from the God of Death. Or he could try his previous idea, a Heroic Spirit from the Night Temple. At this price, he might be able to obtain some benefits comparable to resurrecting heroic spirits from the Night Temple. In short, there were many benefits and no disadvantages. Thinking of this, Zhou felt that coming here was the right decision. Otherwise, it would probably be very difficult for him to encounter this Scarlet Lord even after a long time. He immediately ordered Nazario to keep an eye on this regional Scarlet Lord. If Feng Luo showed any signs of losing, they would immediately help him deal with him. However, his instructions were completely unnecessary. In the sky above Dark Knight Town, Lord Ziha was still fighting Feng Luo. However, unlike before, at this moment, its entire body was covered in dense saber wounds and greenish-black blood. The one who had caused these wounds was naturally its opponent, Feng Luo. Zaha looked at this human saber technique. The more he looked at it, the more aggrieved and unbelievable he felt. There's definitely something wrong with his saber technique, Zaha roared in his heart. Meanwhile, Feng Luo was still calmly brandishing his saber, unleashing extremely domineering saber techniques to steadily and violently suppress his opponent. He slashed over one after another. It looked like he wanted to shatter both the enemy's saber and also this saber hand. It was his White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Saber Technique, slashing technique. A moment later, while the other party was already dizzy from the beating, Feng Luo suddenly slashed out with his saber, cutting off the other party's right hand that was holding the saber. Then, he slashed across the other party's neck at high speed. Zaha felt the world spin. Then it saw its corpse. Then, its vision darkened, and it could not see anything. Feng Luo let out a sigh of relief. Chapter 284 Race Change Item. Darkbone Royal Family. A very powerful opponent. Feng Luo nodded slightly. Then, he suddenly felt something and surprise flashed across his eyes. What happened? How does this guy give so much promotion energy? He was a little surprised. At this moment, he even felt that if he could kill a few more regional Scarlet Lords of this level, he would be able to break through to the Diamond Tier Elementary grade. At this moment, he realized that Ruoji was almost done. Only a white platinum tier elementary grade green-headed fog demon was still resisting. He immediately flew over and joined forces with Ruoji to quickly deal with the green-headed fog demon without thinking too much. "Where's Zaha?" Ruoji immediately asked when he saw that Zaha was gone. "Zaha? If you're talking about the Scarlet Lord of Dark Knight Town, I've already dealt with it. Let's not talk anymore. I'll continue fighting." With these words, Feng Luo flew back into the battlefield and began to slaughter the other green-headed fog demons. Indeed, every fog monster gives me a lot more promotion energy than normal. Is this the Lord's ability? Feng Luo looked at the excited expressions of the other soldiers and speculated that he was not the only one who had such a situation. However, even though he had thought of it, he could understand on his behalf. At this moment he was even more shocked. Could this be the Lord's talent? It's too terrifying. I wonder what the upper limit of this Lord talent is. If there is no upper limit to this method of obtaining promotion energy, the Lord is destined to have countless experts under his command in the future. While he was shocked, he was also a little excited and expectant. Even though he did not like war, he did not resist increasing his strength. At this moment, he felt more and more that he had followed the right Lord. At the same time, Ruoji was standing on the spot, staring blankly at the other party's arrogant battle style on the battlefield. It's resolved so quickly. Why is this human actually so strong? It muttered. Suddenly, bring Zaha's corpse over. Zhou's voice sounded in its mind. Ruoji jolted and immediately came back to his senses. It immediately responded respectfully in its heart. Then, it came to Zaha's corpse and looked at it with a complicated expression. Ruoji only looked at it for 2 seconds before stopping thinking about it. He collected its corpse and flew towards Zhou. Behind the battlefield, Zhou looked at the kill notification in front of him. Your subject Feng Luo has killed the white platinum tier advanced grade green-headed fog demon lord, Zaha, regional scarlet lord. Promotion energy plus 80,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the war god. Your subject Feng Luo has obtained an additional 320,000 promotion energy points. The territory of the Scarlet Lord has become ownerless. You can plunder or occupy it. Dark Knight Town has become an ownerless area. After you obtain the regional token, you can become the regional lord of this area. Special hint 1. As the territory of Dark Knight Town belongs to the Taiyan Kingdom, Kingdom level Scarlet Lord Force, you have opened the diplomatic relations interface. The Taiyan Kingdom has discovered your offensive behavior. Your diplomatic relations with the Taiyan Kingdom have developed from hostile to aggro. Special hint 2. Under aggro diplomatic relations, the Taiyan Kingdom can launch any offensive action against your territory at any time. Please be prepared in time. TSK Tisk. So I've long become enemies with the Taiyan Kingdom. Then it doesn't matter if it increases to aggro. When Zhou saw the last 2 lines of notifications, not only was he not nervous, but he also heaved a sigh of relief. True. After all, the lords of all races and the Scarlet Lord were under the opposing forces, the Supreme Resistance and the Crimson Overlord. It was normal for diplomatic relations to become hostile. Since that was the case, his attack on Dark Knight Town was even more correct to weaken the power of the Taiyan Kingdom. In that case, I have to do more of these things in the future. The more uncomfortable the Taiyan Kingdom is, the safer the future of my territory. When Leah comes back, tell her about this. The Aurora Kingdom and I can be considered true allies now. We should be able to obtain the Aurora Kingdom's help. Zhou thought. It would be a waste not to do such a thing. At this moment, Ruoji flew over with Zaha's corpse. Greetings, my lord. After putting the corpse down, Zaha immediately said respectfully, Well done. I'll remember your contribution for today's stop. When you go back, understand our territory's military merit system. I won't disappoint you. Zhou smiled. Thank you for the reward, my lord. Zaha was looking forward to it. Continue fighting. Zhou nodded slightly. Ruoji nodded and turned to rush to the battlefield again. Zhou's gaze landed on the corpse. He walked over and placed his hand on it. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title Hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent Hint. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 60 Mist Cores Diamond Tier, 36 Origin Crystals, 1 Darkbone King Blade, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Darkbone King Blade Record Martial Arts Manual, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Darkbone King Body Martial Arts Manual, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Scarlet Crystals, Holy Spirit Grade, 10 Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. A smile appeared on Zhou face. The loots of a white Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Regional Scarlet Lord were indeed top grade. A total of 60 Diamond Tier Mist Cores dropped. This amount of gains. It was comparable to killing a Diamond Tier Regional Scarlet Lord. He looked at the other loots. Among them, the Origin Crystals, Holy Spirit Tier Scarlet Crystals, and Lord Talent Crystal Fragments were common items. He looked at a black saber that emitted a faint purple light at the edge of the blade. Equipment name, Darkbone King Blade. Equipment grade, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade. Equipment effect 1. Bone Essence of the Darkbone King. Cultivation efficiency plus 500% when cultivating the Darkbone King body. Equipment effect 2. Protection of the Darkbone King. The user's bone defense temporarily increases by 200%, and the physical defense temporarily increases by 50%. It can be increased to Diamond Tier Advanced Grade at most. Equipment effect 3. Blood Drinking Evil Blade. When fighting the enemy, the Darkbone King Blade will absorb the enemy's pure blood energy and restore the user's physical injuries. Zhou raised his eyebrows. The equipment was not bad. They were all equipment effects that combatants needed the most. However, it was actually an exclusive knife that matched the martial arts manual. This was the first time he had seen such a weapon. He looked at the Darkbone King body. Martial Arts Secret Manual. Darkbone King Body. Secret Manual Quality. Diamond Tier Advanced Grade. Cultivation Effect 1. Darkbone Defense. Cultivating the Darkbone King body will gradually increase the strength of your bones. Flesh-type life forms will increase the defense of your body. Cultivation Effect 2. Undead Bone Spirit. When a martial artist who cultivates the Darkbone King body is killed, the Darkbone King will bless his soul to live in his bones and preserve his physical life for a month. During this month, the cultivator of the Darkbone King body can find a way to revive and try to revive. After a month, the cultivator will die completely and his soul will return to the netherworld. Special Cultivation Effect 3. Darkbone King Race. When a martial artist who cultivates the Darkbone King body is killed, if the cultivator has the Darkbone King Blade, they can use the bone essence in the Darkbone King Blade to change their race and become the Darkbone King race among the undead. Zhou was a little surprised. This Darkbone King body, together with the Darkbone King Blade, could actually become a combination tool that could change races? Zhou pondered. When the time came, he really could not save his life. Perhaps he could use this. As for now, Zhou was not interested in them. He looked at the last martial arts manual. Martial Arts Secret Manual. Darkbone King Blade Record. Secret Manual Quality. Diamond Tier Advanced Grade. Cultivation Effect. The blade technique inheritance of the Darkbone King. After learning it, you will automatically master the lifetime blade experience and skills of the Darkbone King. I can learn this. Zhou's eyes lit up. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.